All right, folks. So we were going to do Patreon tonight, and that's where we were actually at. And we didn't have time to mess with it. I think what happened was we were a little bit late, like just a few minutes getting started on there. And so Patreon like did something. I don't know. When you post it on there to Patreon, it's going to be at 8 o'clock. I'm thinking that's what it is. We're going to try and figure it out. But they're not like they take it off of there, so that's what happened. We're thinking that's what happened. Anthony's going to try and figure it out, but and we had quite a few people in there, and then we didn't get to do it. So we're still going to do the Patreon. It will be Bigfoot and the Nature of Reality, and it's going to be in Wyoming, and that will be tomorrow. And then we're going to be doing it. So that will be tomorrow. We're going to do that on Tuesday. So this is how it's going to be. So just so you know, we're going to go ahead and do a show tonight, and we're going to save that for tomorrow because I got plenty of material we can do. It's not like it's. So I just got my notes out and said, you know what, let's just move it over. And what we'll probably end up doing, it's probably going to be like this. Tonight, we're going to do a show for you. And so anybody who's in the Patreon, you'll get your show. And then Tuesday, tomorrow, we're going to do the Bigfoot and the Nature of Reality on the Patreon. And then we will do members only tomorrow, too. And then Wednesday, we'll do the Wednesday show. But here's how it's going to be. The Wednesday show is going to be early. We're going to do the Wednesday show. It's probably going to be like 3 in the afternoon Central Time. So plan for 3 p.m. Central for the Wednesday show. And then Thursday, we'll be back on the Patreon doing the Lost Encounters. And I can't tell you what each one of those is going to be, but that's how it's going to go. That's what we're going to do. But who doesn't like hearing about Bigfoot and Dogman? So the Wyoming encounter was really cool. It was in Yellowstone, and it was Marie. It was her encounter and her husband, and so their encounter is going to have to wait. Give me 1 second here, folks. All right. So, anyways, it's Marie and her husband, and we'll be talking about that tomorrow. During it'll be early. We'll talk. We'll probably do one at 7 and another one at 8. So that's how we're going to do it. And then we'll probably start with the Patreon. Join the Patreon. It's a $10, $20, $30, $40, $50 tier. You get an extra show a week guaranteed. Then you get 2 extra shows every other week. And then you get the swag bag. You get the 2 months merch crate, and then one every 6 months after that. Did you find it? Okay. All right. Anyway, he's looking for something for me. So we're just gonna let some people get in the chat because this is not our normal night for our normal show. But I mean, fortunately for you, the Patreon thing happened. So we always make sure we go back and get those shows done, though. So it's still a good deal because you do get the episodes. Tonight was not going to be a regular show on here, but now we got it. How's everybody doing on a Monday night here? I remember we used to do the call-in shows on Monday night, and we never quite could fill up the chat. Maybe 300 something. But our numbers have gone way down on the chat, and that's fine. I don't even care about that. A lot of people, wish that they could have our numbers, and so we're doing good. If anybody wants to join in, I mean, I guess we could put the link up if you want to do a call-in show for this. So there's the link right there. I was going to talk about something that happened in Yellowstone, and we'll be talking about that tomorrow night when we do the Bigfoot Nature of Reality. And it is the spider crawl that these beings do, Bigfoot and Dogman both. So I was thinking about that earlier. It's such a weird thing, and it's a creepy thing. And there have been a lot of people who have, I don't say a lot, there have been several people who have given me their reasons why what they believe this is, what they think is going on with that. Why does Bigfoot and Dogman do that? Why do they do what they do? Why does it crawl the way it does and move the way it does? One of the most interesting is Jerry and Ella Williams tell of the Choctaw legend. Do you have it? Oh, hold on one second. So one of the things that happens in that story that we're going to talk about tomorrow night on the Bigfoot and the Nature of Reality, there was a spider crawl, and it was these two people, Marie and Moses, who actually had this happen to them at Yellowstone, and it is a weird, creepy thing. So I thought I would give you a couple of stories here about Bigfoot and Dogman doing just that. And why they do it, we don't know 100%, but I could tell you this. Jerry and Ella Williams use the Choctaw creation story. They call it the creation myth, but I don't know that it doesn't have some truth to it. And it was from a spider. The spider was the original predator according to the Choctaw legends. And spiders are weird and creepy, right? Wouldn't you agree? I mean, they're weird. And the legend is that they crawl and do this weird whatever because that is their original form. It's from the original predator, which was the spider, according to the Choctaw legend. Now, I don't know what to believe with that. Now, you see on my shirt, I have an octopus because I love them. They're very intelligent animals, and they have 8 limbs, and they do weird whatever. And I've actually held one and played with it and made friends with it and bonded with it at the aquarium when I was in Oregon years ago as a kid. And I think they're awesome animals, man. I really think they're incredible.
They're really amazing.
And then I got to do the same thing with one in Corpus, and there were 6 of us around this tank. I thought this was really cool. Okay, is there a way to dim that just a little bit? It's sticking right in my eyes. And so I thought it was really cool. And so once again, it was an octopus, and it came up in the tank. They said, okay, just let it choose a person to go to, whatever. And it came directly to me. And it was a male, and he put his tentacles out. So when I was younger, I got to play with one that was a female, and they named it Charlotte, if I remember correctly. And this one was named had a human name, like Jeremy or Jamie or something like that. I can't remember exactly. It's been over 12 years, but anyway, it put its tentacle out, and it chose me, and I put my hand out, and so eventually they had to get me to pull away from the little tank so the other people could get. Because there was people with kids there and stuff, and the kids are like, they don't care, But I feel like they can communicate on a deeper, sensitive level. It's one of those really cool animals, man. And I hate sharks. I'm not a shark person. I don't care. I just dislike the hell out of them. And when you see that they prey on octopus and stuff like that, it's really annoying. I don't like them because octopus are very intelligent, and I never believed that they were originally from here, and neither do scientists. In fact, I believe it was Carl Sagan once said, they are not from this earth, and that's not just some egghead's opinion. That's probably what the truth is. And another quick thing too, before we get any further, join, because tomorrow we're going to have the members only. Get your name in green if it's not already. So get your name in green. Maven, I see your name is not in green. Get your name in green for the members only tomorrow night, because we're going to do the tomorrow night show. It's going to be members only. We're going to be doing the Glimmerman encounter with a Forrest Glimmerman encounter. He had an encounter, not from a forest, yes, in a forest, but his name is Forrest. So we'll be doing his story. And then before that, it'll be Marie and Moses. They're from California, but they went to Yellowstone on vacation several years ago and had something really creepy happen to them with Bigfoot. And yes, it was creepy. And you will hear that tomorrow on Patreon. We're going to get that done. But I figured, you know what? Let's give the people a show. We got to do it. We couldn't get it working tonight, whatever. Let's get it done. So here we are. One of these I got from a friend of mine. We were doing and I just got this story yesterday, so it was fresh in my mind. And this guy's name is Roberto. And I've known this guy for a long time. And he used to work with this company where they sold like crushed up granite, stuff like that. And he was introduced to me by the good folks at the Hernandez Ranch. And he used to work with those guys. He did the crushed countertops. Like he actually made countertops, handcrafted them with Italian stone. Roberto was good at what he does, or he is good at it. He still is. And he's from Matamoros, Mexico. And really nice guy. And I used to hang out in that area down there. And we knew some of the same places, so we hit it off. And he gave me an encounter. And for the life of me, I couldn't remember it. And then yesterday, I reached out by looking through my phone. I was like, oh, and I was clearing out numbers in my phone because I have hundreds and hundreds of numbers. So I had to literally kick out almost 90 numbers out of my phone. I thought it was near 100, but it was about 90. And they were just people's numbers I didn't know, hadn't talked to in years, don't even know who they are, and who knows, But I saw his number on there, so I texted the two Robertos. I had two Robertos, and the rest of them had last names. These two didn't. And one of them answered me, and he says, hey, what's up? And I was like, is this Roberto? He used to work, doing the countertops, whatever, down at this project we used to do down in Southwest Austin. And he said, yes, what's up? And we talked, and I said, dude, I was like, do you have time for a quick call? And he was on lunch, and so he's working down in south of Austin or whatever. And so he gave me a call, and we talked, and it was a fun talk. And he reminded me of his story, and I thought, you know what, maybe we'll use that next Sunday. And then I just kept talking to him, and I said, you know what, I'll squeeze that in maybe on Wednesday. So I'll just bump up what I was going to do, and I'm going to use that one I'll do the other one on Wednesday. And I'm going to tell you his right now tonight. And I just got it fresh in my mind. The other story I got was from a guy named Miguel, and he's from San Bernardino, California. And I've known this guy for years, and he had a weird encounter. He hangs out with this other guy that I've known for a long time. His name is Russell, and they are like just been best friends forever. They both came from San Bernardino, and temporarily they worked with us doing fire watches and stuff like that back when I was doing security. And so, I got to know these guys pretty good. And so I got that encounter, and I had looked it up because, like I said, I was preparing to maybe do this on Sunday, but now we'll do it now. It's not a big deal, whatever. And so I don't mind doing it, but I don't work for free. So you better start donate me, or I'm finna jump off here. You got 5 seconds to comply. 1, 5. See ya. I'm out. Laters.
Deuces.
Okay, that's a roundabout way of saying donations are appreciated, but they're not expected, right? But hey, if you feel so inclined to help us out for our endeavors, yes. And if you don't, then so be it. I'm still going to do the show regardless because I'm a nice guy. All right. So here we go. So going back to Roberto's encounter, remember, like I said, he used to work with the guys from Hernandez Ranch. He didn't have a Dogman encounter. He had a Bigfoot encounter, but it was creepy as hell because he was working down at that project. And I'm not joking. I swear, me and my brother, they had us toggling between 3 different properties. And it wasn't something that we were doing on our own. It was something that the company that hired us said, we really can't afford security for all 3 properties. Can you split your time there roughly 4 hours between each property to make it a 12-hour shift? And I said, okay, fine, we'll do that. And so my business partner at the time, when he told me that, I was pretty aggravated. I was like, why would you agree to that? But looking back in hindsight, even though it was a pain in the butt and I had to use gas for it and everything, it turned out okay because we got paid for it, but we also became rich with stories and getting to know people and getting to talk to some of these people who were part of that whole Hernandez crew. So here's what's cool about Roberto. He's not only had this weird encounter with the Bigfoot, but his wife's brother, his ex-wife, that's why I'm not calling him his brother-in-law, but his former brother-in-law had a Dogman encounter down in Mexico. And that encounter was explosive. And so his name is Rufino. So Rufino gave me a story that was just absolutely freaky deaky. And so I'm going to have to flesh that one out. And that will probably take up an entire hour of an episode coming up pretty soon. So Rufino, shout out to you. Thank you for giving me that story. That is a good one too. So anyways, that one I think involves brujeria, which is black magic. And that's saying it in Hispanic, that's how we say it, It's pretty universal, and whatever Latino, whatever they'll say in Spanish, brujeria, they're talking about black magic, right? Or magic, but typically it's dark. And so he believes that was what that was. And Rufino told me that story, and he, didn't get to have a big old long powwow with him. This guy just called him up. Roberto called him up and said, hey, and started talking to him. And the guy told me a little bit about the story. And what I heard for about 15 minutes was pretty cool. So that's going to be a good one. So be looking for that one. So yeah, I even have a name for that one, Infernal Cauldron. That's what I think we should call that one. We'll be looking for that one. So remember, Rufino, Infernal Cauldron. Text that to yourself, me, whatever, so you can know the name that we're going to use. So anyways, back to Roberto. What happened with Roberto was crazy. He was there, and he specializes in countertops, but he's a jack of all trades. And his brother, not the brother-in-law, former brother-in-law, he actually has a company that does where they lay out concrete, stuff like that. Thank you for that donation. We appreciate that. Generous people. Thank you. But he lays out cement, for driveways, stuff like that. So he's like, I'm done, right? And he's like, and so my pendejo brother is like, hey man, one of my workers left early, whatever. And he told me this. This isn't knocking his brother. His brother's name is James. But James has a habit of paying people late. That's not a good habit to have. If you are running a company, any kind of company at all, you should pay your people. You should pay them on time, because that opens you up to all kinds of trouble that you don't want, trouble that you don't need. And I don't care who you are or how good of an attorney you think you got. If you don't pay people, they're going to come after you and you're going to lose. And I promise you, it's going to be bad, very bad. So anyway, he said his brother was constantly doing that. And eventually he didn't have any workers. So he said, I had my two guys and we were finishing up laying out this countertop that I myself had designed and done. And that particular project, there was some opulence. I'm not even joking. Anthony, you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. They had some beautiful stuff there. We're talking $700,000 to $800,000 homes. And this is not in Texas. Homes are cheaper than like California or Florida. No, dude. So if you're getting a $700,000 home here, it's going to run you about 1.8 million out in freaking Cali. It's a little over double. So you're talking like 3,800 square foot houses. Some of these were 4,100 square foot houses, and they were beautiful. And these countertops were handcrafted with Italian crushed stone, all kinds of marble, Spanish tile. I mean, I'm talking, it's crazy, dude. Like windows from Germany, nutty stuff, dude. They looked like little mini cathedrals. Very pretty, very, very beautiful stuff. And so anyways, he goes, I was busy, me and my guys, and it was in the evening. And he told me, Roberto said, man, I was aggravated. He's like, I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to leave. He said, I didn't have time for this, And my brother's like, hey, he goes, so, and he says, when his brother says, hey, so, mm-hmm. I have a brother that does that. My brother goes, hey, he does that. But his brother says, so you have the brothers that do that, the heyas and the soas. I go, well, that means something bad's about that. Well, the legs on this table just jumped off, and I don't know what happened,
Made in China piece of crap.
Now it's on the floor. Made in China piece of crap. And then you're like, that thing came from Italy. Well, they still subbed it out to somebody that was,
Chinese immigrants in Italy.
Somebody did it. It was somebody's fault, not me. The legs just removed themselves. So he had a brother who likes to do that. His brother said that. So he goes, yeah, let me guess. You need me to help you finish what you're doing. He goes, well, we got another hour and a half of daylight. He's like, for you? Not me. So he takes his two workers over there. The one worker was not having it, dude. He said that dude was not going to do it. And he told him straight up, he goes, not going to do it, man. He said, I'm just going to, he went by Rubio. That's what we call him. He says, we called him Rubio. I don't know if his last name, pretty sure it is, or first name. But he said, Rubio told him, he said, I'm not doing it, man. I'm not going to help him. He never paid me from last time. And it took you 2 weeks to come up with the money. It wasn't even your problem. So he bailed. He got his stuff, his equipment, his tools. See you. See you tomorrow morning. I'll see you, Jefe. Not him. 8 in the morning. I'll see you. Goodbye. Whatever. So this is in the summertime. And it was around the time when we worked there. And in fact, it was only a few months removed from when I had stopped working at that place. So summertime, yeah. But it was or summertime, sorry, it wasn't summertime, but yeah, it was still hot. It was October, but it was still hot. So he said that he was there and the sun was going down, another hour maybe of daylight. And so he says, okay. So he goes over there, starts helping them, and they have to take these little, and scrape and all this stuff, these tools. Long story short, he's out there on his hands and knees helping him smooth out this part of the driveway because one of the workers had messed it up. Well, how did he mess it up? He threw a bag of dried cement on it and just let it hit it because he hadn't gotten paid. And then he drove off cussing this dude out, his brother, right? So he tells his brother, he's like, look, man, I'm not going to sit here all day messing with this crap. Tomorrow, if you don't get this done, it's over. You're going to have to figure it out. And he's like, and we used to be in business together, but he caused so many problems and he didn't do his job that we quit being in business together, and this is why. So he's over there smoothing it out, and his brother's inside, or his brothers are on the side of the building, whatever, mixing the, those little round things they had. They would mix it by hand, when they were in a hurry, they had to get it done when they didn't have a truck there to do it. And so he's over there hand mixing it, and he goes, man, I was cussing him with every name in the book. I said, English or Spanish? He goes, both. He said, and I met his brother. His brother's nice to me. But obviously he's got his own issues, whatever. I'm a dog in this fight, right? So he said, I was cussing my brother with every name in the book, And so I stood up at one point and I saw something go across the road really quickly. And I look, he's like, and there was this black, dark thing. He goes, and I had the one worker with me that was helping me. And he was like, what was that? And he looks at him and he says, I don't know. And he's like, araña, spider in Spanish. And he was like, nah, whatever. Maybe it was a dog. He goes, that was a weird looking dog. So they just got back down on their knees and kept doing what they were doing. He goes, and my brother and the one worker that was there with him, they were trying to get the cement, so they could pour some more to fix what this worker had done. And he said, dude, while they were over there doing that, I yelled for my brother. He's like, and I saw something on my peripheral go across the yard where we were at, and it was almost dark. And I was telling him to give me a headlamp. He said, I need a headlamp. And he said that the guy that I was with had gone in the house. And he said, whatever this was on the side of the house. This is a freaky story, dude. And it happened right here in Texas, And he said that he goes around the side of the house because he saw something go over there. And he goes, and I see this thing down on the ground. And it was black. And it wasn't super large, but the legs of this thing were out on the sides. And he goes, I'm thinking it's a tarantula. And he's like, and I don't know what this is. I'm like, what in the hell is that? What is this thing, right there? And he says, his worker came out and gave him and his name's Matt. And Matt gives him the headlamp. They call him Matty, Matt T with a T, not Madeline, Matty. but Matty. But he said, Matty brought me the headlamp. He said, and I go to put it on because the sun had gone down. And I'm still looking, and I'm like, he's like, I am not a cowardly guy. And I know Roberto. He's a big barrel-chested guy. He's not real tall. He's about 5'8", but he's a big weightlifter. I'm not going to lie to you. He's been in the pen. I mean, so he's a big dude, man. He's a very strong, muscular guy. And in fact, he met Joe, who was in the penitentiary too for his extracurricular activities, which was Joe, one of the Hernandez brothers. And we've talked about his story. He was the guy, if you don't remember, who had the encounter, that thing that went into the garage, this Dogman creature, out near Wimberley. So he goes around the side of the house, and he's standing there, and he looks at his friend. He goes, and I was nervous. And Matty's a big, tall dude. He's a pretty big Hispanic dude. And they're both going around the side of the building. And he goes, and before you know it, or he goes, before I tell you the rest, he goes, I was not drinking. He said, I know that you asked. I said, man, I asked the Hernandez brothers because, that's a question I had to ask. Were you drinking? Because, drinking, you could distort whatever. It doesn't mean that you don't have an encounter just because you were drinking or smoking the devil's lettuce. People have them all the time. And in fact, I have an opinion that some people will have these encounters because of the intoxicants, and so, but not like it causes hallucination, but you're open to it. You know what I'm saying? So then they go around the side of the building. He goes, and this thing crawled up the side of the house. And he said that this thing just crawled up and stood there, or just was clinging to the side of the house. And he's like, we jumped back and we fumbled over each other and fell backwards, and we both screamed. And my brother came around the side of the house from the mixer, and he's like, what's going on? And he said, dude, there's something on the side of this house. And he said, I was running back to the truck. I went to grab my cuerta. That's in Spanish. That's he said, so I'm going to pistola, He goes, and then I thought about it, and I was like, that's a big spider. He goes, I thought it was a big spider. He's like, and my brother, he goes walking around with the other guy that he's with. The other guy don't speak no English. He's from Mexico. And the dude, when they told him, what it was, he just looked at him and was like, ay, chingala, mentiras, whatever. He goes over there and he walks and he looks and he says, hey, and he runs like back to the truck, his truck, gets in it and drives off with the headlamp on his head, cement on his hands. And he just took off. He just did not care. He goes, and he stepped in the cement that we were working on. And he's like, it was freaking unbelievable, dude. He's like, and then I go around the side and I look and I see it. It's not a spider at all. It's this thing with its arms out and its legs out, and it looked kind of like an ape mixed with a man. And its head was turned almost backwards, not completely. But he said, you know how owls will turn their head? And I said, yeah, I've seen them do it. And we had a baby one for a while. We had found, and we gave it to this shelter. Or a rescue, whatever, in Georgetown. So this thing turns its head, he said, at a weird angle, man. He's like, and it was a very human-looking face. He's like, I'll never forget it. And its eyes were kind of bugged out and glowing yellow. He goes, and one of them looked like there was blood coming out of it or something. It was red. He's like, and it was so weird-looking, dude. He said, and according to his brother and the other guy, they saw like red around its mouth. So maybe it was bleeding. I don't know why. I don't know what had happened to it. But there it was. And it was this ape-like creature. And it crawled over to the top of the house. And when it got to the top, it stood straight up and then went doomp, 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 running on two legs and jumped to the other roof. When it jumped to the other roof, he said this thing was probably like 600 pounds and probably about 7 feet tall. And he said that it knocked tile and all kinds of crap. And the next day, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. But he said that we were freaked out. We all ran and we got in my truck. My brother left his truck there, windows down and everything, did not care. And we drove the hell out of there. He goes, we got down the road and we're like, maybe we should call the police. So that's what they did. They called the sheriff's department, told them that there was a guy that had crawled up the side of the house. And these sheriff's department were like, what? A man climbed up the side of a house and jumped on and they didn't know what to say. They weren't going to say, hey, we saw Bigfoot. moving around like a freaking spider, because who the hell is going to believe that? Nobody's going to take you seriously. Well, not in law enforcement anyway. So this thing, it goes and does what it does. And then the next day, and it jumped off the back of that house and was gone into the woods, because these houses are butted up against the woods. And I know exactly where they were at. I don't know that, as I wasn't working in there anymore. And he did try to contact me at that time, but I was busy and I was working another job site, and I was busy with that. And I did not get around to calling him back. I just know that there was an encounter, and I remember that it was something of that nature. And so when I was looking through my phone, I decided to give him a call. I kicked a bunch of numbers out of my phone yesterday and today, so that's what I was doing, because now I have time to do stuff. So this thing disappears into the night. They disappear into the night. They get down the road. They call the police. They meet the police at a gas station. Police go over there. They check it out. They call them back. They say, well, we didn't see anything. And they were worried about their stuff there. And so the police said, well, we'll wait here until you want to come back. And they're like, no, we don't want to come back. And in fact, that next day, he goes, I did my job during the day, and I was looking around all day, just nervous as hell. I installed the countertops. I was a countertop guy. That's what I did. He's like, and so I got the job done. I did 2 of them, and then that was it that day. And he goes, and I never stayed at that job site overnight again. The roof on that thing was tore up. And so these people had to call in, the company had to call in a roofer to fix that and pay a bunch of money. And they asked them how it happened, and they said, well, a guy did it. And they tried to say, well, it must have been one of your guys. Your guys climbed up on the roof, and he got all borracho and jumped up on there, you know. So what happened? I don't know. But that's his story. And like I said, his former brother-in-law, Rufino, has a hell of a story from Matamoros, and we will eventually talk about that. But that's the Bigfoot encounter. And what's up, Breezy? Haven't seen you in a while, man. So what we got now, there's another one I got that I can tell you. This comes from a guy named Miguel from San Bernardino, and I've known him and his buddy Russell for a long time. Miguel and Russell used to work with it. Well, I met them we were doing construction security. I did a lot of it, tons of it over the years. Countless sites. I can't tell you how many we did. And these 2 guys worked for us for a little while, because when their company was finished with the job, they wanted some work, and so I gave them Firewatch, which is like, you don't have to be a security or anything. And they did like 2 or 3 of them for me, and they were about 2 or 3 days long or whatever. And I remember working with Russell and going by there, and Russell telling me, these were best friends. They had grown up together, and they were roommates, and they just decided, you know what, let's go to Texas. Let's get some work, because they were friends with some of these guys. So one of the guys said, hey, I'm going to be going back to Texas. He was from Texas, and told him there's a job I'm doing. First he was in Austin. No, first he was in Austin. No, Austin was second. San Antonio, and then he went to Austin. That was another guy. And he told these guys about us, and the security company. And that guy, he turned out to not be a really cool dude, man. He didn't do his job, got us some problems with his other people, and so we let him go. But getting to meet these 2 guys was cool. So Miguel was a good dude, stand-up guy, still is. Russell's a good dude. So I just kind of let them know, hey, man, I might be doing your episode, soon. I didn't know it was going to be tonight, but here it is. So Miguel and Russell were working together on a job site, and they were doing a bunch of work. There was like this pavement thing that they were doing on the road, and it was on this county road out near San Antonio, and I don't know which road it was, but it wasn't too far away from where someone had told us about Kerrville, about there being a werewolf out there. Now, there have been stories, a lot of stories about Kerrville and about a werewolf. So these guys were working. I would say it was probably about 15 miles. I'm just estimating, And so Kerrville is a place where I have heard stories of there being Bigfoot and there being Dogman, and I have heard both. So this is what I was told by Miguel, they were doing a job for this other guy named Luis that I've known for years. And he does paving. Got a visitor here. What's up? What's up, man?
Hey, how's everybody? What's going on?
It's good, man. It's like old times, huh? Like
Yes,
a
sir.
regular Monday, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
How you
So
doing?
Dick Richards, everybody, if you don't know who that is. And so what we're talking about, Richard, is this creature that was this. Let's get it. Well, I'll keep going. So what happened was Russell had left to go get some food. And so there was a convenience store several miles up the road. This was out in the middle of nowhere. So they left Miguel with this one guy who was from Mexico. And they were like, and Miguel doesn't speak fluent Spanish, but he speaks enough to communicate. So him and that guy were left on the job site together while this other guy goes and gets some food with this other dude named Ernesto. And so, and I thought that was funny because there's a guy that told me a story recently named Ernest. Thank you, Debbie, for that. You're always coming through for us. You know, that's can't say enough about Debbie Cawthron. But so Ernesto decides that he's going to stay, but he's going to go with what's his face, because he's like, man, I got to use the bathroom, and it's not the first one. So he's like, I have to go. So he takes off with Russell, and Russell's like me. He's half Hispanic, half white. And he's like, dude, we left him with the guy that spoke very little English. And, you know, unfortunately, Miguel speaks very little Spanish, so they couldn't communicate real well. Well, Dick got bounced. I don't know what happened. Maybe he'll come back. And so while they're sitting there, they decide that they're going to take a break and they're just going to sit there. And I know it's not correct. You're not supposed to do this, but they decided to have a beer. And they were going to wait until the job was over and it was dark already. And they're waiting for these two guys to get back. And the dude asked him, hey, you know, ¿tú quieres cerveza? He says, yeah, sure. So they opened up a beer and they started drinking one each. And he said, about this time, we see this thing, which looks like a wolf, but just the top of it, just the head and like the shoulders. But it looked weird. It was a weird looking creature. And it comes out onto this Johnson grass. It was on the side of the road, and they were paving this part of the county road. And they were given this job to do by this other guy that wasn't out there. Just told him, hey, just kind of finish up this one section, and then we'll hit the lick tomorrow. And so that's what they did. And so then this thing, he's like, we see it moving, and it's not pitch dark out there. You know, the moon is out, whatever. He's like, so we can see it, but like it's just like the head, like almost like a silhouette, you know? And that's not their words, that's mine. The way he was describing it was kind of like they were just seeing the silhouette of it. And when I said that, and I don't like to lead, but I said, was that what it was? He said, like a shadow? He said, yeah, kind of. But you could make out that it was something. There was something really there. And I was like, mira, aquí, you know, and he says, look over there, you know, like right here. And this thing, it kind of moves. They see the head and then they see it go back. And they were like, you know, freaked out, looking at each other. He's like, this guy's like, cucuy, you know, chupacabra, you know, he's saying all this stuff. This is in 2017, right? So this thing goes down on all fours and then begins to run across the road. And when it did, it was low crawling like a spider. It was moving like a freaking spider. And if they hadn't seen the wolf-like head and the appendages, the front appendages looked like hands. The back ones were wolf-like legs bent outward, you know, like the lower part of the hawk of the leg. You know what I'm talking about, Richard? You know, that part
buddy,
was
that's
jutting
scary.
out. Oh, it's creepy as hell. So that part was jutting outward. And I've known Miguel and these guys for a long time. I met Miguel and them like back in 2013, 14, something like that. So it's been a long time that I've known these guys and done a lot of construction security. And I met them when they were doing a job for this other company off of 620. And you can look that up on the map. They were building these government housing. It's what's it called? Subsidized housing. So this thing's legs were jutting out off to the side. The arms were out like this, and it was crawling across the road, but very fast. It went really quickly and crawled across the road like a spider. And in fact, they were questioning, did we see a spider or What was that? Like, what did we just see? Was that they couldn't figure out what it was? They just know that it was spider-like, but the head was distinctly wolf-like, and it was a big animal. And I said, "How much do you think it weighed?" He probably 350, 400. Maybe if it stood up, it would be 6 feet, maybe a little more, 6.5, maybe. So that's a pretty big creature, pretty big animal. Not as big as the Bigfoot that was on the side of the house that was seen, but dude, I mean, I'm telling you, these creatures do weird, wacky stuff. And the spider crawling is something that really gets me because I don't like spiders. I'm freaked out by spiders. I'm very particular. So what the hell is that?
What do you think about the spider crawl? Like,
I
why
can
do
barely
think
hear
they
you,
even-
Dick.
What do
What were
you
you saying?
think about the spider crawl? Why do you think they even do that? What's your
That's a
opinion?
question that everybody asks. Like, what causes them to do that? Why do they? I mean, what is your thoughts on it, Richard? I mean, you
Dude, I think it just speaks to their demonic nature. I think it's just some weird demonic thing that they're doing to try and elicit fear, or I don't really know, but it seems like they do that a lot. And you always see it in the movies too, where they'll portray the entities as doing that weird spider crawl, or they'll do the spider crawl backwards and
well,
some
that's
weird
The Exorcist.
element to
I
it.
don't know. Are there other movies that they depict it like that and crawling backwards, like other than The Exorcist?
Yeah, there's been a few other movies
You just broke up.
and
What's
done
going on
all
with your
sorts of weird
connection
stuff
then?
like that.
Yeah, I don't.
Sorry,
No, it's okay.
I have no idea
don't
what's
know
going
what
on with
that
the
is.
connection. Let me.
Richard over here looking like a sunburned convict.
Move spots here. See if I can.
Dried up
Oh
cranberry.
yeah, I spent like 5 hours in the pool yesterday, so
I thought maybe you're hitting the lick.
friggin' roasted, man.
Should have known you weren't working. You're just hanging out in the swimming pool.
No, we're working inside, so yeah, things are
But if you
good.
guys go to my
Chat.
Facebook page, real quickly, I got to say this. If you go to my Facebook page, go look at that article that I posted about the weather, because there is a winter storm warning for Wyoming and like Montana. Like, what in the hell is a winter storm warning?
Yeah,
I'm not kidding. It's real. It's a real thing. I posted it in my Facebook. Folks, if you're not following me on Facebook, you're missing out. I'm posting now that I don't have this albatross around my neck. I got time to post and do things on Facebook, which I'm going to be doing a lot of. And I'm posting every day. Someone in the Paranormal Roundtable group mentioned that they, and I'll say his name on here. It's not a big deal. George Tomlin, and he asked me about. So George posted about on the Paranormal Roundtable group about books. He wanted to know books of ancient civilization. He wanted to know about books that were about ancient religion, and so I threw a few out there. And let me see what you think of this list here, and we'll get into that in just a second. And I figured you would probably be interested in knowing that one, Richard, because you and I have some of the same books that we've studied. And
100%.
wow.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with my connection tonight. It's really low. Like the volume's really low on it.
Well, you're looking better now.
Yeah, it's better. You're looking. Well, you're not looking better, but the connection's doing better.
No,
you're just looking like
You sit there flexing.
Yeah, we're just looking at you like your normal weird self.
it's good to see you guys, man. I hope you guys are well.
Yeah. Well, that's messed up. Something happened to my Facebook. All my posts are gone. Dude, I don't know if you can figure that out, but I was going to read to you some of that from the list. So people can go and check out the list of books, but I guess maybe that was too much. Facebook got upset and just deleted it. They're all gone.
I just saw that post. What?
I know,
Why is it not coming up?
because they're gone. Wow. Saying too much, doing too much good. So they got to stop me. You got to slow me down.
Buddy, they're always listening now.
Oh, it's demonic, dude. I'm telling you. And these I'm not gonna say who they are, but these demons messing with me. They're people, but
Yeah.
they might as well be demons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that the evil can do to stop us. What people don't realize is that we're doing, what needs to be done, what needs to be said, and everybody who's in the way trying to stop us, they're being unrighteous. I mean, it's horrible.
You see what the King of England just said that he was.
Hold on 1 second. Can somebody kick
Yeah,
Roger
sorry.
Thorne out and please ban him? He's
Yeah.
making light of it. He thinks he's funny. I know who you are, Roderick, and you're gone. I don't want you anywhere around us. Goodbye. I know exactly who that is. So, anyways, enough with that guy. I don't want. If you see him, his name anywhere, anything, get rid of him. He's become a burdensome troll. I don't agree with him. He's a real person. I don't agree with him and his beliefs. And so he thinks he's being cute and funny and whatever. But if somebody...
There you go.
Did you get it to work?
Yeah.
How did you do it?
I had to force stop the app and then
Crazy.
restart it again.
So here's a list of some of the books I provide. I don't have time to go through all of them, but over the coming days, I'm going to add more and more books to it because there's 1,000 of them. But just for starters, Worlds in Collision, right? What do you think of that one? Right? Emmanuel
Who
Velikovsky.
talks about Emmanuel Velikovsky more than I do, right?
Yeah. So Chariots of the Gods, that's, Von Daniken, and then Sitchin, of course, multiple books by him. The Anunnaki Connection by Heather Lynn. Slave Species, The Secret History of the Anunnaki, Their Mission on Earth, Michael Tellinger. I thought that was a good one. Then any book by Paul Anthony Wallace, and then multiple books by Graham Hancock, like Graham a lot. And then on the Gnostic Christian texts, you can start with Gospel of Thomas, Apocryphon of John. Yeah. And then if you want, the Apocryphon of John is Sethian Gnosticism. I mean, so if anybody's into that, and then the Gospel of Mary, and then the Gospel of Judas. Now, like I said, I don't know if I believe all of this, but it is an interesting read and it's thought provoking. It doesn't mean that it's correct. I'm just saying there's a bunch of others, I mean, there's Paul and Peter and all these different ones and the Apocryphals. But what do you think of that list? Like for starters, just to get in there and get your feet wet.
No, it's great. The book of Adam and Eve said one thing that really surprised me, and it was saying that sin is like a parasite that's gone down through our genetics throughout the timelines.
Our DNA, dude.
Yeah, that's literally infested our DNA. And I thought that, I was like, oh, that makes friggin' perfect sense. So I think the book of Adam and Eve is probably worth a read over as well.
Yeah, and I would read the Tanakh, not because I'm, but I would read it, that oral tradition and who they say Yahweh is in their own oral tradition. God to them is a dragon. When we're told in the Christian Bible over and over again that it's not. But that's interesting. I would read into that and I would look into it. Ancient civilizations and all that. There's a ton of books about a ton of subjects, and I've read thousands of them. So anyways, I thought that would be something that I'm going to start doing on Facebook, just giving you the information that you can go and look it up and find it. So I started with a list. Now that I finally have some time, I can actually dedicate some time to it. Please go like and follow me on Facebook. I only have 3,500 followers on Facebook because I've never really, that's not my focus, but now I'm going to be around. So people, I looked through my messages today. Oh my gosh, dude. It was crazy, dude. It was like, there was just never ending messages. And I was just, so if anybody, I reached out to you today, I just was going through there trying to, what did Dead Zone said?
It's in cursive.
Can you see this font? That is a very hard font to read. I can barely. So, yeah, so this is the thing. I mean, I'm getting back into where I have time to do things. And this is now what I'm doing. And so getting these messages back to people, I went through over 100 friend requests and things like that. And people who had said, oh, I gave up trying to get, now I'm around, I'll be around. And that's what, and so I'm really this close to making a decision about my future, about what I want to do. I have something, legal coming up that's big. And then when I'm done with that, when I'm done dealing with that, then I'm going to be, and I'm being nice, I'm being really nice to people. People think that I'm being, I'm a certain way, but I'm really being nice because I'm not using my platform to do things and go after people who have hurt me and done things to me. I'm being very nice and generous. People have been reaching out to me, asking me, and I'm not saying anything. But these people continue to say things and do things. And I'm not talking about these crazy people this is in my personal life. And if I told people what's really going on, I don't think they would like it, but I'm not. And so I just know that eventually, God's going to deal with this situation for me. I just feel that in my heart. I feel like it's the right thing to do because, when people do things to people and treat people a certain way, eventually somebody has to stop them. It has to be stopped. There has to be a retribution. And I feel like, a lot of people just let it go.
Absolutely.
They just let people do bad things. But if you have the ability and you can stop it, you have a responsibility, a moral responsibility to do this. And sometimes that means, going to war with people that you don't. And when you give them chance after chance after chance and they slap your hand away and mock you and whatever, you got to do what you got to do. And that's kind of where
what is it? The wicked flee when none pursue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so eventually you have to deal with it. And it's just part of being a man. You can't take it. I'm not going to take it. I don't have all the resources in the world, but I have a lot of friends. And so I have people that will help me in what I need to do to make things right. And there are people in my life right now that are just not doing correct. And I've tried and I've prayed about it and I've prayed about it. And I don't want to have to deal with this, but I feel like I have to, like it's something you have to do. And so once that is done, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to keep on in this, or just going to just throw myself into this full time and see what happens. Maybe the brokest joker in Texas for a while, but we'll see what happens, man. So with this weird stuff we were talking about here, back on track here with the spider crawl weirdness that happens with these entities. I do believe you're correct, Richard. It is something demonic. It's something that they do. And you don't see, that's what gets me, it cracks me up when people talk about these things like they're normal flesh and blood creatures. Or it's just a creature that evolved to walk that way, like an ape-like or a dog-like creature. Dude, what dog or monkey or ape spider crawls? Or can stick on the side of a building, for that matter?
I don't believe anything evolved from anything ever. So that's just my personal belief.
But I mean, what if, let's say for pragmatism, right? Let's say if you were just completely pragmatic and you threw out everything biblical, moral, whatever. What creature, what ape? Let's just say it was an ape. It's a giant monkey man, right? How is it going to stick to a brick wall? These are brick house, stone, right? They were all stone. There wasn't no brick out there.
Mm-hmm.
These are all like really expensive stone. Like, how does it stick to a stone?
It suggests to me the ability to manipulate the elements.
There you go. And how does that happen? How does that work? Unless there is something, like you said, something demonic at play here. It has to be. Mm-hmm. And we've had people come on the show and talk about this stuff. We've had so many different stories that have been told to us. These things are crawling around, moving around. This thing that these guys saw wasn't a real long, drawn-out encounter. I mean, that was it. What Miguel saw. But it crawled across the road. I mean, that was it, yeah. And then they just sat there terrified in the truck until, Russell and Ernesto came back. And he was like, dude, when they came back, we weren't even hungry. And then one beer turned into two, and then we were like three. And then I was like, hey, man, you drive, and let's get out of here. And Russell's like, okay. And they took off. They were staying at a hotel, in town right there. And he told him about it, and it's crazy because Russell told me, he says, dude, my uncle saw one of these things years ago near San Bernardino, California. And it was running really fast on the side of the road. It's a short encounter too. And then it outpaced their truck. He didn't see it, but his uncle was a kid. He's like, and he was with a friend from baseball, and his friend's dad and the mom were driving him, and they were heading back into town from the baseball field. And this thing just ran out in front of their truck. Well, what was the purpose of that? Why would it keep pace with you at 65 miles an hour and then decide I'm just going to run out in front of your truck, when it could have just not done that in the first place, or just let the truck go and then cross the road behind them? Why did it do that? What was the purpose of that? To scare the hell out of these two boys? And
Yeah. I really think that. I think they love it. I think they fucking. Sorry, I think they love this crap.
Yeah, they do.
Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, no, I think they love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they enjoy the fear that it gives them, and I think that this is another weird thing. I've talked to Nellie about this. Me and Nellie have talked about this at length, because we're working on this book and we keep figuring out how we want to do it. And it's not the vampire thing, it's not the ghost thing, it's another thing. And we've talked about theories, and we just postulate, it's just conjecture. But you got this weird thing that happens with these entities. And I think that they tune in to you on a wavelength level. Nellie said the same thing. She's like, they tune into a frequency, and they pick 100%. Up on that frequency. Yeah. And then that's why you'll have 4 people, 2 of them will see it and the other 2 won't. Or you'll have 4 people, 2 of them will see it, but the other 2 won't. But those 2 see something different. They see different parts of it. And one person will say, well, it looked like this Glimmer Man thing. Or it looks like a goat man, like the story we had talked about the other night. Was that Glimmer Man? That was on the regular show, right? That wasn't the Patreon. No? Okay.
That was YouTube.
Isn't that freaking weird though?
I mean, it is extremely bizarre. I mean, it's somebody said, Richard, you lost weight. Have you lost weight, Richard? You're smoking a different type of crack now, or what?
I don't know about lost weight. I don't know. I'd like to say that I have, but I guess my face is a little thinner. Yeah.
You look a little gaunt. You look thinner.
It's the summer though, man. You got to put on this, I live at the beach, right? So, you got to get that beach body ripping.
You live at the beach.
Pretty bad one.
Oh, you live
Wasaga Beach.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like the longest freshwater.
Yeah, you're calling that dirty lake that you live by a beach. That ain't a beach. Where are the waves? Are there waves?
It's notorious for what it's notorious for. I know. Being used as a garbage can, or being used as a bathroom. It's literally known worldwide for that.
Yeah, I know. I've looked it up. There's videos of it. I'm not going to even say where it's at, because people start looking it up, and then they'll be like,
the North American Ganges.
All right, let me talk about that for a second.
No, that's probably a better. We'll get you on the Random Files with me and Anna, and you can talk about that on the Random Files. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that on here. We're going to talk about that.
I'll spill the beans on the Random Files then.
Yeah, we don't need to. Let me ask you this question. You had your Dogman encounter years ago in the field in Washington. Yeah, right?
Field in a town called New Lowell.
What was it called?
New Lowell, Ontario.
New Lowell. Okay, so why did I think it was Washington? Who am I thinking of? I think it's somebody else. Anyways, your encounter, and you've told it on the show before. You were a guest years ago. That's how we, got to meet each other. But here's the thing. You didn't see it do anything. It came out of an orb, which you believe is the old fan.
Yeah, like it was like a weird plasma thing that opened up, like a weird, like crackly lightning thing that opened up, and then it fell out. And then the second one was like a couple of 100 meters to the left of it. And that thing fell out, and it fell out and hit the trees and every branch on the way down. Yeah. I don't know if it was an Ophanum or not, but I truly believe that's how they get around.
What is it? What did Moon at Noon say? Ozum crack face.
Oh,
Oh no. Oh,
Funny how it cuts out right when we talk about this, eh?
yeah, that's true. But Moon at Noon, that's messed up. He's trying to say you have Ozum, like, like you're taking Ozempic. You're not taking Ozempic, right? That's not happening. Tell me you're not taking.
Yeah, Ozempic. Yeah.
He's
Doesn't
the screen is frozen on an angry face.
yeah.
No.
He's on that crocodile.
I love Richard. He's a great.
That's
guy.
great.
Like cracking on him, man. So, anyways, now he's looking like Glimmer Man over here. What's going on with the Glimmer Man here?
Really?
Yeah, you kind of for a minute there.
Should I jump out and just restart my phone?
Yeah, maybe you know. I don't know. Whatever you want to do, jump out.
Yeah, give me
Might
2
be your
seconds.
Wi-Fi or
Here,
something.
Here, I'll remove him, and then Richard, if you hear me, somebody said Charles Barkley face. I miss Richard on Mondays, man. We used to have such a good time on Mondays. We had all these people that would jump in and tell their encounters or whatever. So what I'm going to do right now, if anybody wants to jump in and tell their encounter, we got the link on. You want to send it again, or is it posted at the top?
Yeah, it's been at the top, but I can just
Throw it back on there.
post it again.
If anybody wants to jump in and tell an encounter, if you got an encounter you want to tell, just like on Mondays, we used to get all these people come on and tell their stories. Go ahead. Come on. Tell me the story. Good, Richard. You're back.
There we go. Third time's a charm, as they say in Black Magic.
There
Eh?
you go. In Black Magic. Is that what it is? Is Black Magic that says that? I thought that was just a...
Yeah, when you invoke something 3 times, that's supposed to be the trick to getting it.
So I know the magic part, you know, but I've always heard from Quidindetus that I grew up with. My aunt, you know, her best friend, her name was Sadie, and she was, I'm a white witch. Until you make her mad, then she's not. You know,
Exactly.
Until you anger her, then she's not a white witch anymore. She's not
Exactly.
She's a bruja, you know, on a broomstick. I always thought she was mean. I was like, I don't want nothing to do with that woman. I barely ever spoke to that girl.
It says, "Suffer not a witch to live." They didn't make a discrepancy between white witch and black.
No, yeah,
white whatever.
Practicing
Oh,
black
thank
or
you, Missy.
practicing white, either way. So real
new
Missy
favorite
got on and she
person.
said, don't be talking about my baby. Don't be talking about my Richard.
You tell him, Missy.
My new favorite chatter.
Don't let him talk about your man like that.
New favorite chatter. She looks like she's kind of sassy. Like she'd be like that.
Missy's a real one.
Dude, let me
Missy's
tell you
got my
something.
back.
Really long fingernails and poke you in the face, like from here,
Mhm.
and the nail hits you in the eye.
Now you just got to get him a green card, Missy.
That just help him get his card.
Right.
What Night Watch? I haven't seen him in forever. What's going on, my brother? Look, he's got the PRTs repping it, bro. He said, I miss open lines. A lot of people miss open lines, but and for the 1,000th time or the 1,001st time, I'm going to tell you why we couldn't do open lines. Richard just was not on point. That
True.
was costing us views and subs. I got so many complaints about this guy and his Ozemp face.
There's like chest going on too, buddy.
Richard's like, if I was next to you, I'd punch you.
No, never. You don't punch people that can smash you into the ground like a tent pole.
Yeah, but you told me if you found out that I was really a werewolf, you'd stake. What'd you say? You'd take me out in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd stake you right in the heart like freaking Dracula.
The stake won't work though. You have to use silver. That'll work like a regular weapon. See, I know these things, but I'm not one.
Steve Quayle says you need to use copper against Nephilim because it's something to do with the blood
You can
type.
use copper with but silver and gold work too. But when you start using 999 silver, or 14 karat gold, it's not going to work. I have a question for you though, right?
Okay.
Seriously, say you were hypothetically you had a friend that was a werewolf, not a vampire, because those are all evil. They're all evil. Obviously, if you're running around, you have to drink blood every day. That's evil. But like, what if a person was a werewolf and they didn't really want to be a werewolf, and it just happened to them one day, like say when they were like 15, right? And then they just had to live their life that way, but they dedicated their life to being good. You would still take them out? Like, really? You would do that to them?
Remember at the end of every werewolf movie when they kill the werewolf and it says thank you?
Okay, there we go. I knew it. I knew it. What was I saying the other day? I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there you go. See, folks, even though I'm not, but if I was, my friend Richard would still take me out. He would take me out with silver. Just because.
I would cry. I'd cry. I'd be really upset about it.
Oh, that don't count. That don't count. Nah.
I'd probably feel bad for like 3 days.
Uh-oh. Look at what Missy said. That's not appropriate. She said, I'm not a she-will, but I can still make you howl.
Snap.
Damn. Yeah, right? I told you, snap.
See, that's your ticket out of Canada.
That's your ticket
right
out of
there.
Canada right there. Missy's got the, you know, what is that? The wild thing? She needs $20 to make you holla. She's paid to do that, dude.
Right?
Isn't that what Tone Loc said? Paid to do the wild thing. You know, the thing is, though, $20 ain't nothing now. That'd be about $50. I think $50 would make you holler. It's like because of inflation for the wild thing.
100%. Yeah.
Can't even do it now. It's like you can't even do it. Somebody says wolf by copper. Okay. Or reverse the spell. See, Christian's thinking he's trying to help. Christian's like, hey, let's get to the bottom of this and let's help this supposed individual get out of this horror show that they've been in.
How would one do that?
I don't
You
know.
got to play classical music really loud.
You got to figure it out.
Figure it out.
You got to, man. Richard's solution is let's just take him out.
Yeah.
You know, like an SAS commando from Britain or something. You know, and where is the stake at? We don't even have that wooden stake. Where's it at?
You don't have the stake on your desk?
I don't know where it's at. It's when we moved studios, I don't know where everything went.
It's somewhere out here.
Whatever.
And then Richard would try to attack me with that.
Whatever.
I was something I wouldn't be. If I was a vampire, I would already done take myself out. I'd be like, man, I'm not doing this. Who could drink blood every day like a weirdo, like some kind of weirdo? I mean, that's just gross.
That would be a freaking horrible existence. Just to, I don't know, but do you think they like lose all humanity? Do you think they lose like they? No,
they always have a kingdom of it because if you lose all of your humanity, then these archons, these demons, archons, whatever, they can't attach to you, right? So
yeah, like wouldn't you just jump off a bridge or something?
See, now there you go. Wedge is trying to think about it. He says, unalive the werewolf that turns you, I guess. See? Or you could just have those two ghouls following you around, like on Werewolf of London, talking about how he should kill himself.
You know how I always said that Bram Stoker's Dracula was a documentary?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know how you said that when you kill a vampire, it turns into a werewolf in the certain Romanian lore?
No, you got it backwards. Werewolf dies, it becomes a vampire.
Okay, because when Keanu Reeves pulls up in the gypsy carriage to get taken to Dracula's place by the Dracula guy, there's a werewolf that's staked on a crucifix at that crossroads.
You know why that is, right?
No.
That was an homage to the gypsies because the gypsies believed in the curses of the werewolf. So the wolfman, the werewolf, whatever, was staked right there. The gypsies. It was a gypsy that had become a werewolf.
Interesting.
So Count Dracula, and even though he's this evil dark lord of, vampire darkness or whatever, he's still giving law and order and protecting his people of the land from ravenous beasts, right?
Interesting.
Because think about it, he's the ravenous beast. You can't have other ravenous beasts running around.
Absolutely. One alpha.
Exactly. So he's going to take out the werewolf. But it's kind of like how our government would say, oh, we're protecting you from the terrorists when they themselves are terrorizing everybody. Right. You ever seen Gangs of New York? When Boss
Buddy, that's my favorite movie.
That's a great movie. It's not my favorite, but it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
What is that guy's name on there?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Bill the Butcher, when he's talking to Boss Tweed, who were real people, by the way. These were real people.
Yeah.
And he says, we got to make an example, some kind of, non-affiliated, whatever. So then they had hangings They went and found some people to hang just to show that hey, the crushers, the cops are still in charge, right?
Yeah.
The biggest gang is still around and they're doing their job. When in reality, they're not. They're just making an example of somebody so they could say, hey, we're still into law and order. And Boss Tweed, he says, he goes, we can't have the people, looking at us, the order of law must be upheld, especially when it's being broken.
That's it. That's what it is. That's the
people
line.
looking at you going like, oh, because
Yeah.
you're doing all this garbage that they're doing. And it's always like that. The people in charge, they sacrifice the people below them to cover their own ass. I mean, that happens all the time. That's what happens
Right.
to people in this world. They and then they act like they didn't. Oh, I wasn't a part of that. That's why you got to have a lawyer, because they were a part of it, and they do things, and they throw people under the bus, and they make it look like that they're not the ones doing these things, and then they take the people below them that they force into this kind of stuff, and then they use them as the sacrifice, as the scapegoat. And they depend on people not having the resources or the ability to defend themselves legally.
Yeah.
That's why everybody, I'm telling you, I'm gonna give you some advice out here in the audience. Get to know somebody. If you work for a company or a corporation, get to know somebody who's into corporate, like a corporate attorney. If you're blessed to have one as a friend, man, it's a good thing, because it's a good person to have. But if you got to have somebody that will work for you, help you, fight for you, because if not, you just get eaten up by the system. And these corporate people, they use the system all the time, and they just crush people. The politicians do it, the corporate head honchos do it, the lower ones do it, and then it just goes on all the way down to the average common person that just gets steamrolled. And it happens all the time. You know how many people out there running around and they're living by God's grace, and they don't even realize it, and they don't realize that they are just razor thin, and eventually they're going to fall, because they're going to mess with the wrong person. That person's going to know the legal system, know how to use it, and they're going to know people in the legal system, and they're going to come after them. And it's going to happen. You can only screw so many people around. And then once you develop a reputation for being that guy that screws people around, and then somebody comes in and deals with you, I think we have an obligation to keep people honest, and so many people are afraid to speak out or say anything because someone is their boss or somebody is above them. That's where all these harassment suits come from, people who are intimidated. The system is always there, and when you look at that movie you're talking about, Dracula, that's a statement right there by them. He is the system, right?
Yeah, really.
Yeah. He's the evilest dude, but yet he's taking out werewolves, right? What's going on, Daniel? How are you doing today?
What's up, guys? I'm doing good.
You doing good?
Yes.
What you got for us, man?
So I got a story about I think they're demonically possessed, but I was outside, and these people come running up, or you ever Josh, I know you've seen a lot of supernatural stuff. Do you ever detect it before you see it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you feel it, your hair stands up, you get this weird feeling. Sometimes I feel like I can't breathe if I'm around it, if it's really close. And sometimes it even smells. Has a weird rotting smell or a sulfur-like smell. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, sometimes when I see something, I'll look in the direction, and then it'll just walk up or show up. But I've only seen like a physical. So these people were.
Hey,
I
Daniel,
sensed
speak
them.
up just a little bit, because I'm barely hearing you, and then your camera looks like it's a little bit, got your face a little bit blurred there.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Is this any better?
Oh, it's much better. That's better.
Awesome. So these people, maybe 100 yards away or something, and then I kind of detect them before I see them round the corner, and then I'm staring at them, and I'm with my cousin. Full disclosure, we were hitting the lettuce a little bit, devil's lettuce a little, We weren't like so stoned where we were like slurring our words and like confused. We weren't like blazed or whatever.
So it wasn't good shit. It was just, dang.
Yeah, we're
I'm
just getting
joking.
started. Just lit it up.
Go ahead, tell the story.
But yeah, they're so I sense them almost, and then I see them, and my cousin looks to see what I'm looking at. And he's like, I think they're drunk, and I like pretty much recognized it as soon as I see it, because I'm pretty good at like knowing what's what. And I'm like, they're not drunk. And the way they like ran up to us, they were contorting like they're being like electrically shocked, and all of their bones were out of joint. It was like almost like in the movies, but it was real. And like they ran up to us really fast, probably like maybe over 20 miles an hour. And usually when you're hauling, real like when the force of your foot hitting the ground is pretty loud. And there was absolutely no sound whatsoever. Not a thud or nothing. Completely silent. They bolted all the way up to us. They stopped. And I was pretty much in shock, My heart wasn't like boop, 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 but I was like, what? And they're like, oh, nice night. I was like, my cousin, he was speaking. I was too shell shocked. I was like, he's like, yeah, it's a nice night. It was like a woman. And I'm assuming the other one was also a woman. She's about, one was like 5'8", one was like 5'2". The shorter one was wearing a hat. It was kind of hard to see her face, and she was pretty like almost not androgynous, but I couldn't really identify a gender very well. So I'm just assuming they're women. And then they didn't sound like gurgled or like they didn't sound demonic. They sounded completely normal. And I remember their faces being in shadow. Like I can't really like remember their faces very well. My cousin says there was no shadow over their face. Maybe I'm just remembering like the cap covering her face, and it was nice, so it was dark.
No, that is, not to interrupt, but that is very common. A lot of times when people will have these weird encounters, they don't remember the face.
That's crazy.
That is a weird thing. Yeah, that's very common, actually. They won't always remember the face, especially if it's a vampiric entity or something that's akin to a shapeshifter. Like, they won't remember the face. You'll be like, I can't place it, And I don't know how many times I've heard that, Once it's turned into like this monster thing, it's indelibly burned into your mind because you saw
like a wolf
monster,
face in your face.
Yeah. But go ahead, Daniel.
So I remember like a relative description. They were like thin, not like gaunt. They were just like normal fit, average build. A Caucasian. The taller one was a Caucasian. The shorter one could have been like Hispanic or Caucasian, something like that. And then it was a very brief conversation. Oh, nice night. Have a good night. And then they walked past normally. And once they were about like 12 feet away or so, maybe it was more like 20 feet or something, then they started contorting again and like they just zipped off. I was friggin' up on the doorstep once I saw that they were like about halfway down the block. And my cousin's like, you coward. I was like, man, you called me the C word. So I had to walk back over there and watch them friggin' run away. And that was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
How old were you when this happened?
I was like 22. So I was probably more like 21. This was like 3 years ago.
And I ask this question all the time because our pineal gland begins to calcify as we get older, and people in their early 20s are still sometimes able to, like, they'll have these weird encounters. You'll talk to people and they'll be in their 40s and they'll be like, well, I haven't anything happened to me since I was in my 20s, especially when it comes to the spiritual, And they'll give me a cryptid encounter or something, because here's the thing. When these things manifest in the physical form, they are actually a part of our world. So you don't really need the pineal gland to see it once it is joined with that vibration. And it's, one of the weirdest stories I got, and I remember this, it was a woman that said she was moving, and it was in Toronto, right? Which is horror in itself. But anyway, there was this spider. And then she said, first I thought she saw it was like a centipede. And she goes to grab a box, and she jumps. It's like, oh! And when it flipped over and landed on the ground, it vibrated. The centipede vibrated, and then it turned into a tarantula and crawled flattened out and went straight under the baseboard. And she was just like, that was the weirdest thing. Her name was Natalie. I remember that story. I don't know if I've told the story on the show. I might have, but I just remember thinking, dude, it was a weird story if y'all remember that one. But it was a quick thing, but they were moving, and I was just like, oh my gosh. So once that thing becomes, and she was like 33 years old, something like that. I remember like thinking, once this thing becomes a physical part of our reality, and you're on that, that level, you see it. But people don't see spirits as clearly as they did when they were younger, unless they decalcify the pineal gland. And there is something that you can do for that. I had a good friend of mine who has a YouTube channel too. Y'all probably know if I say his name, but he was telling me recently that not to talk about it because he talked about it on his show, and that particular episode got demonetized for some flimsy excuse. So I was like, oh, okay. So maybe we shouldn't talk about that on the show. But maybe I'll talk about it on Facebook. Go look at my Facebook folks, and I'll put some of the little things that you can do to decalcify, because there's a whole list of stuff how to decalcify your pineal gland.
Have you heard of Dan Duvall?
What's it called?
Dan Duvall. He's like a deliverance minister.
No. Have you, Dick?
No, I don't think so. Is he the YouTube guy?
I don't know. He has like a YouTube channel called Discovering Truth. He was on a couple of other podcasts.
Yeah, I've seen him before.
He talks about, like, I heard him talk about the pineal gland, like your third eye, and that how you can only see into the demonic with your third eye.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it's not really a good thing to have it open. So I don't know. I've seen stuff before. I don't know if it's because how my chakras are aligned, but I've seen like a little freaking goblin in my house, not in my house. It was at an apartment I was living at, twice. And I've seen I recalled on your show a couple of times talking about another thing I've seen was an orb in the sky. I had mind speak with an orb, and then I've seen an orb. I don't know. I see so many orbs. I don't track. I'm just like, whatever, dude. I don't want any attention from these things, so I ignore when I see them. But
what did it say to you?
Cool. It just wanted me to acknowledge it, and I acknowledged it, and then I was like, okay, this is ending. I ignored it after I acknowledged it. I gave it what I wanted almost, and then I just ignored it. He was like, look. I was like,
it wants you to worship it.
Screw that,
energy.
dude.
That's what worship does. Is when you focus
what you
on
give
something, it becomes energy. Yeah.
Yep. What you spend your time on is what you worship.
That's right.
Yeah.
I told my brother one time, we got into an argument, and I was half-assed. He's like, well, you're over here worshiping your body. You're always working out, lifting weights, blah, blah, blah. And he's talking crap. And I said, well, you worship your guitar. You got that 6-string guitar. You're playing it 3 hours a day. That's worship. What are you doing?
I got us staring at our black mirrors, man. Worshiping the name.
Exactly. We're all worshiping these damn phones or whatever. So one of the things I wonder about, because I think our brains were engineered, and let me finish before I say anything. I know Richard's going to be like, what? But I think that we've been tampered with genetically. I think that the fallen angels did this, the fallen, and the Nephil, the Aleut, whatever, their descendants, right? The whole Jubilee talks about it. But the fallen angels, they engineered our brains to accept certain frequencies. Hence, you get anxiety and depression and all these sad, lonely feelings. I don't think we were supposed to be like that. I think this is part of the fall. We weren't supposed to be this way. We were made a certain way, and then we end up with all of this craziness that happens, the way we deceive each other, the larceny that lurks in the hearts of man. Why is it that way? What is that causes that? Why do evil men do things and then they preach the word of God, and then they do the evilest things they could think of?
I don't know. I feel like most people are just running around like chickens with their heads cut off.
Well, if you guys have seen, there's a woman that goes around doing it now too. Mark Dice was always, I like Mark. He's a good guy, but they're running around asking people like, who fought in the Revolutionary War? And they're like, North and the Yankees. It's just like, man, these people, and you laugh and you're like, and they're not just young people. They're not just kids. Like they're like in their 40s, some of these people. You have these goofy old effers that do it too. I mean, you're just like, what is this? Like, I'm not expecting you to be a history, buff or a math whiz or whatever. But I remember one time he was standing out there and he was offering people a 10-ounce silver bar or a chocolate bar. He had one 10-ounce bar and he had 10 chocolate bars. And he was like, all these chocolate bars disappeared. So finally, one guy took the silver bar. And you can probably guess, but he was like, he grabbed that silver real quick. When he walked up, I was like, well, this guy's going to grab the silver. I know that. He's like, yeah, I'll take it. He immediately, dude, like he was this heat-sinking missile. And then
didn't they do the same with $100 and a 1 ounce gold bar as well?
Yeah. There was a bunch of different videos like that. But there was this young girl, moderately attractive, I guess, I don't know. Just she's out there trying to get young people, young guys, and say, they'll gravitate towards her, and all of them were dumb as hell. I mean, all of them. None of them knew anything. Who fought in the Civil War? Just who was the president during the Civil War? They didn't know. George Washington. Dude, I'm telling you, who was in the Revolutionary War? I remember when I was in college. Yes, I was in college. I dropped out, right? But I had a really cool history teacher, and this history he's a professor, and he says, "Let me ask you a question. People don't know this." He says, "What two countries declared war on Britain that helped the United States become a country?" Who knows this? Do you guys know this, Daniel or Richard?
France and Spain, wasn't it?
Yes, France and Spain.
Yeah.
And then there are people who will act like that was not a big deal. I'm like, we would not be a country without France or Spain.
They all had the French muskets. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what's
and Spanish
crazy?
cannons.
And Spanish cannons, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is too, not to bag on my British friends, I have a lot of them, but the Brits have never done anything for us. Like never. They've really never. They drug us into World War I and World War II. Churchill was determined to fight the Germans, and he drug us into World War II. But the Spanish and the French have helped us over and over and over again. I can cite multiple times. And then what do we do? We back up Britain, and Britain was, we fought a war, a bloody, horrible war to get away from these people, not once but twice, 1776 and 1812.
Yeah.
And then we're over here like, they're our allies. We fought so we wouldn't be a part of the Commonwealth, so we wouldn't be like Canada and Oceania. We didn't want to be a part of that. So how did they help us exactly? And then they're controlled by the Rothschild banks. So why would you want to be part of that?
I was just about to say that.
He's
a lizard.
It's a real screw around there, I mean. But anyways, we'll save that for the random files. We'll talk about that. We're going to get into that on Saturday. We're going to go deep into the hard in the paint, as people say, is they don't like it. They get squirmy. They're like, I don't know if I like this. Well, I did something today. I did this hot cold plunge thing where you burn up in a sauna or 200 degrees and then for 15 minutes, and then you go and you jump in 40-degree water. And I didn't like it. It burned and it felt horrible. But when I was done, I felt, renewed. I felt good. People love their comfort. That's a problem. Andres, what do you have for us?
Frog in boiling water.
Yeah, put the frog in the boiling water, right, Daniel? Andres, what do you have? What's going on?
I just wanted to ask Daniel real quick about the whole goblin encounter that he had. Was it inside the house?
Okay, Shirani, you're going to have to speak up a little bit. You're like,
Yeah, it was inside my home, and I don't know if it's because, your root chakra dominant, and that's why you attract fucking crappy spirit. I don't know, bro.
You got to use your outside voice. Go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yes, Andres.
Oh, that was okay. What I want. Okay,
I can barely hear you.
Thank you for answering my question, Daniel. Can you hear me clear or no?
Yeah, I can hear you. So it wasn't like a full body apparition. So one time I was sitting on the couch, and then like how I said, it'll peak my my third eye or my spirit sense or whatever, and then I'll look up and I'll see it. And I was like, was that the cat? No, the cat's not green. The cat doesn't look like a little goblin. And then another creepy time I saw it when I was in the shower, and I just pray to rebuke stuff, rebuke it off me, close any doors I may have opened, close all my spiritual openings, and just like pray super hard. And I haven't had anything like that since.
Okay, the reason I asked that question because I also had, I believe, a goblin or a type of fae, but I'm not. You said you saw green, like the skin color.
Yeah, both times it was a partial green. It was like the back of the skull going down the spine. So I don't know if it was like an attachment or whatever, or why it was there. But I don't know. I try to
I
pray
just
up and stuff.
yeah. Oh, that's good that you did that. The reason I asked is because apparently I think I also had like a type of a fae or goblin, same thing in my inside my house too. But the difference was mine was that I was like walking around my house, then I decided to sit down in the living room, and there's like a direct line of sight into the kitchen from the living room. I noticed
Oh yeah.
like the whole glimmerman effect, but it wasn't a glimmerman. It was a type of fade because this thing was small, but I can make out the outline. But I had to sit
So
for a
it was
few.
like bending the light in a way, but
Yeah,
not like a
yeah,
color
that's the
or
thing.
like a
And
yeah.
perfectly around it. But it wasn't until I actually started looking at it more that the glimmer effect of the whatever this thing or the pixel effect, the depending on how you want to call it, started to in a sense
Hmm.
started to lose focus the harder I concentrated on it. And I noticed this thing actually was looking at me because I could see the outline. It had like long ears, and I think I could have seen eyes, but like it was just losing the effect. And I could actually see a hand that was holding onto the cabinet. And this thing, I know how tall the cabinet, cabinets on the floor. This thing was around when I compared the height. It was around. I'm 5'6", and this was about like the bottom of my knee. And I'm surprised it was just there. And only
Like
that's
1 foot 6 inches or something. Like that was
possible.
about the tall. It was like shorter than 2 feet. The one I saw was shorter than 2 feet.
Yeah, that's why I came on to ask that because the thing I saw was short, but once it noticed that I could see it, that's when this thing decided to like book it. I didn't hear any noise or anything like that, and this was this I didn't think about doing the whole prayer thing because this was around the time of the lockdown. So
Oh yeah.
and I didn't know about like PTRT or a spiritual encounters, so I was just shocked about that. But I'm surprised that these beings can come in and out of your house just like that.
I don't know. I think that like unless you're like walking the walk with God and you like literally hear Him in your ear, then you're open to you're not you gotta stay get your armor on. You know what they say.
Oh, yeah, I won't deny that, and that's another reason why I actually wanted to come on was because I actually had a succubus encounter. I think a couple months back, and I was actually like you were saying, like the closer you get to God, or the more you're developing your relationship with Him, that's when these things really start coming after you, especially after
I know.
you.
I feel more attacked when I try to get closer to God.
Well, that's the thing about that's another reason.
You
Once
do.
Oh yeah.
these things see that you're on your way there, they're gonna try everything they can to stop you.
Haters, player haters.
Yeah,
No, I'm
definitely.
joking. But yeah. So your succubus was it like a almost like what's it called? Not sleep paralysis, but was it like an invisible weight or was it like
That's the thing about this. I was
Was she hot?
I
I
don't
was
know
she
yet.
hot? No, we
Oh,
don't gotta get like really
I'm
descriptive or
teasing. Sorry,
whatever.
bud.
Just like was it a dream or was it like were you awake?
yeah, but as I was like saying, I was actually watching one of Abe's old lives, and you know how you're going between the sleep to sleep and awake at the same time. It's like you're going in between both of them, and next thing you know, you're stuck in between for a little bit.
Yeah.
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 Uh, when that at the time that kind of was happening, I was actually getting rid of some stuff in my room that I need to get rid of, and I actually dug out something from the closet, which was a rosemary that my grandmother gave me a couple years ago before she passed. And I actually put that on my on top of my dresser, and it wasn't like it's almost like this thing didn't want me to do that because when this started happening, when I was in between the whole dream and awake state, I managed to somehow get out of my body, but I couldn't see my body, but it was like as I was looking around my room, I got like the whole perception sensation was that my room was bigger than what it actually was. If that makes any sense.
Maybe
Every
yeah, maybe you're smaller or something.
it was a little bit, and everything was fuzzy a bit. But as I was walking around, I went to my closet, and for some odd reason, I saw this old blonde woman that was sitting in the place of where the stuff I was getting rid of. And next thing I knew, I'm not gonna go into like detail or anything like that.
Yeah, we don't gotta.
But she gets up, she manages to push me back and turns me to my bed. And as I lay down, that's when things start getting intimate.
Graphic.
Yeah. And
Mm.
that's when I know for a fact this was wrong. I had to stop it. And I tried speaking with my mouth, but I couldn't.
Oh, that's crazy.
And that's when I knew, like, oh crap, this is real. I'm gonna be messed up after this. But I tried to stop it, but I did the whole. I couldn't speak with my mouth. And once I realized I couldn't do that, I started hyperventilating, real bad.
Mm.
And that's when I more or less decided to. I couldn't speak out my mouth. There was no help there with that regard. So I spoke it in my mind instead.
Mm.
I said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. But when you're developing that relationship, that's when you know that's when that God, the Heavenly Father, will step in to help you out. And all
Mm-hmm.
the words that I managed to get out was, I rebuke you. I didn't say the whole sentence, but I'm surprised just saying the words I rebuke you was enough to snap me out of this thing. And I woke up back in my bed. I'm going like, what the happened?
It's crazy. So it like mounted your like spirit, and then you called out, or
Yeah,
you enacted the Holy Spirit, or whatever you want to say, and you were able to just like pop back in your body.
I just woke up back in it. That's pretty much essentially what happened.
And it's
And
probably a spirit lingering out, probably pulled you out of your body when you were drifting between consciousness or something. I'd think. I don't know. Why you would just leave your body if you've never done it or tried to.
Yeah, I think I've done that a few times, but nothing like that ever happened. At least in terms of the succubus, I do have another encounter where I did leave my body, and I spoke about this on Abe's channel.
Abe, yeah, I remember.
DDN Encounters is what he calls it now. But that was essentially the succubus encounter that I spoke about. Like, in terms of you mentioning, once you start really getting into developing your relationship with Christ, that's when these things start coming after you hard. So, guys, if it doesn't matter how you do it, so long as you get on the way there. Remember, everybody always talks about, well, if you say this a couple of times, and I'm truly believe what you say. This, the goal shouldn't be to just get into heaven. It should be getting back to the source, that Father. So I believe, I know for a fact, because that's eventually what he wants us to do. There's a reason why he says he wants all of his children to return to him, to come home. That's essentially what should be for us, but everybody's focused more on the heaven part and more escaping hell. And like you said, there's a jail in heaven, and you're gonna have to spend, you're gonna have to spend some time there and do your time, or somehow make up for it. But we should just try to get there as fast as we can. And yes, we're gonna have to go through some shit to get through it, more from the demonic and unfortunately the world, because we do have to obey the law of man. And that's the part that sucks about it.
And nowadays, there's so many people who are a part of the demonic, and they're openly doing it, like the 20 Million Club. I don't know if people know what that is, but these rappers, there's some of them who have talked about how they had to agree to never rap about Christ, never talk about anything, and just be evil. They had to be, and these actors, they're told, why is it that Christ is there? That's who they're against. Why is that? I mean, there's a reason for that.
That's what really made it clear to me, is that the whole world hates Christ, and they don't hate any of the other entities or deities. They don't hate Buddha. They don't hate, well, some of them hate Muhammad, but no, it's Christ that's their enemy. And so there's obviously a reason behind that.
He's the enemy of this world, and he's the enemy of the God of this world, which a lot of people don't understand how somebody asked me this the other day. I was in a group, and they were talking about the demiurge, and I said, the demiurge is a shaitan. Yeah. And they were like, no, it's God. I'm like, no, that isn't. It's a God. It's a little God.
Architect
it's not
Satan.
Yeah. It's Satan, because Jesus says, And he literally came here to pull us out. It's on a rescue mission. Think about this. The book of Enoch, I believe that it changes now because if you read the book of Enoch, there are 4 different tunnels, right, that people can go to.
I was going to say the 4 chambers. Now you don't go to heaven, you go to the 4 chambers. Yes.
That's
The
what
4
asked what
chambers.
those
But
were.
now you do because Jesus changed it because he went to those 4 chambers, right?
Mhm.
He went and he stole the keys of life and death. He has them now. He didn't steal them. That's not a proper term. He took them because he
Mhm.
took them back to where they belonged, which was the infinite creator, the one most high, his father. Because the way that these archons set things up, if you were righteous, the demiurge, whatever, he'll let you go and just sit in a chamber and just be there. Would God the Father want you to just mill around after you've lived a righteous life? No, that's not going to happen. That's why he sent Christ. And somebody was asking me, like, clean shaven, look at this. What's up?
I was just going to say, look at the shave on this guy.
Yeah.
Hey, under fire.
He's out handsoming us over here. So here's what happens, right? So Jesus comes. He says, hey, look, we're not going to do things like this anymore. Like if you read the Epic of Gilgamesh, the best you could hope for was to sit at a table with your friends and eat ash and mimic life. That's the best you could hope for, right? Well, you're sitting in a chamber with people and you're just kind of milling around waiting for the judgment. Jesus comes, he frees you from it. Who did Jesus free from the captivity? He said he freed the righteous from. Why were the righteous in captivity? Think about that. That's an interesting thing. Now it's not that way. It's different because he freed the righteous from that chamber, which was like a prison. He freed them. And then he ministered to the Nephilim. Yeah. He talks to them. You read the book of Enoch, it'll tell you, like, he actually sat there and he ministered to the sinners and to these, these beings, and so he tells them, which tells me that they're not all going to be, whatever. Some of them, if they turn their hardened heart away from their sin, that you can be saved. And that is, all of us belong to the source. Everybody thinks that, something belongs to them. But we belong to him. And so it doesn't matter. It supersedes everything. So God sends Jesus, which is a part of himself, as a fractal. We've talked about this. And Jesus comes and says, hey, I'm here to set the captives free. And then these morons that think they're doing the Shaitan's bidding by murdering him. And then he comes back in 3 days, says, yeah, I was down in the underworld. Yeah, how's everybody doing? And now for the rest of humanity, you're going to have a problem with my followers because they're not going to like what you did to me. If anybody can create their own reality, it's Christ. And then you follow in that trailblazed reality. So that's the thing. People don't understand. We've talked on the show, I think with Takeyashi. I think, Sean, you might have been on there. Richard, you might have been there. I know Abe might have been there. We were all did shows. Those Friday shows were fire.
Yeah.
And I know we were talking on air or off air. I don't remember. We were talking about the nature of reality. We got really deep with Sean, but then we went even deeper with Taki when Sean came on. And I thought those were some of the best I've ever done with anybody. And so we're sitting there, we're talking about the nature of reality and what it is and how it works. And we go really deep with these discussions. I think that what ends up happening is you eventually make your way back to the source when you are purified.
Yeah.
And you're able to return, and so many people, they get lost. They get caught up in the minutia and there's all this noise and they follow that noise. They don't follow the word of God. And that is the problem. That becomes the issue. And then they get caught up in making money, doing whatever it is that you're doing. And then boom, you're off of that plane of existence. And now you have to deal with the real reality. Are you ready for the real reality? Mm-hmm. A lot of people are not. They are not prepared for what's coming. Whether it's you fall off and die or something happens, Christ returns, however that's going to happen, however it's going to work. And so many people are angry with God. And I hear this all the time. People are like, well, I lost a child. I lost a spouse. I've lost a ton of people. And not one time did I ever feel like I was angry at God, because I found the truth about the real reality. And that's what's important. Keep your eyes focused on Jesus. Every day, if you just looked in the mirror and said, Jesus, help me, you would do better with your life. Even when I do my breathing exercises, when I go to do the things I got to do, go to work out tonight, I got to do legs. That sucks, right? But it's, the
Don't
whole
skip
time
leg
I'm praying. I'm Jesus, help me. And if I die, you take me. Don't let these beings have the upper hand and take you to do somewhere that you don't belong. Sheol doesn't exist anymore the way it did. These people that follow that, they're following an outdated religion that's dead. It's a dead religion. They don't understand the one true religion is just to follow Christ.
Mhm.
Oh, I had a question. So I was thinking like all of these the shaitan and all these creatures, they feed off of our life force and like our blood, our what's it called, loose or whatever the heck. So I wonder like how much are we keeping them alive, and how like they need us how much do they need us to actually survive? And like
Well,
what does it say in Genesis, like we come from our seed, and like how you were talking about how demonics, they attach to your back because they can't create life, so they like leech off of humanity that has like the spark of life or like the breath of life in it. I don't think they have the breath of life. I think they have to steal the breath of life
it's
to
like they
stay
become
alive.
what happens is there's
Like
a
what you
lot of
call the
different
empiric system.
there's a lot of different entities and races in this world.
Speak up a little bit there, Under Fire.
So there's a lot of different races and entities in this world. The Shaitan are just one. What kind of talk about a lot of Taki and the research is there's definitely a black cube overlay over Earth, and the whole system is really in what we believe at this point is we've talked about a black goo. So the Shaitan are not really the enemy, right? They're the corrupt. They are an enemy, but they're not the main enemy. The main enemy is whatever this black goo is. It's like look at the human body or any body. It's like a virus that comes in and it affects cells and turns those cells against the body. That's kind of what we're thinking this is. And so Christ, God, and Holy Spirit are coming in, and we're dealing with this infection, this black goo, this virus. This virus. Sorry, go ahead.
So question is like, do you think God created the black goo?
That's a good
God
question.
is Alpha, Omega.
I've heard
He's the
of a
beginning
lot
and
of
the
people.
end. Was this goo also the beginning and the end? I don't think I believe that.
I think it's giant's blood.
I think it was around long.
Yeah, I think it's a little more. I think you're right, but it's a little more complicated than that.
Yeah.
I believe that the Earth is a corpse. Me and Dick both believe this.
Dragon's blood.
Dragons. Yeah, there's one way to. Yeah, everything that you could think of. This is a dead cell, right?
Yeah.
But it's dying or whatever. And so, if you were to take, and this is not something that's fun to think about, but if you were to take like an animal that's decaying and you look at it, there's a whole ecosystem going on there, right? This is what Earth is, right? It's an ecosystem that's happening, right? So everything works in a balance, right? But there were beings that were here, and they live off of this, what this dead cell is. And then you go deeper and deeper and deeper, then you start to realize like the black goo is the antithesis of God. It is the blood of the darkness, and the darkness is the opposite of light, right? So if you were to take
came from,
if you take the demiurge, now say the demiurge created this illusion that we live in, right? It would make sense that he says, I created the darkness and the light. I did this because he separated it. Yeah, you did that in this small matrix that you've crafted for yourself. But there's something above him, which is way above him. It's kind of like these people, they're so haughty and arrogant, and they're so far behind in the race, they think they're in the lead. I've dealt with people like this so many times, and I just smirk at them, and they're like, oh, yeah, you think it's funny? Kind of, yeah, because you're so arrogant, and you know everything. Oh, you're laughing? Yeah, because I'm already ahead of you. They always think that they're lapping everybody when they're the ones being lapped. Well, to me, that's what the demiurge is. That's what the Shaitan is. And the Shaitan is not one being. They're a group of them. And what Under Fire is saying is they're not the real enemy. They have succumbed to the darkness. And people will say God versus the devil or the devil versus Jesus. That's not a contest. That's like saying my little nephew he's like 4 or something. Me and him we're gonna fight. Yeah. No, I don't think so. It's going to be 20 years before that kid would even, and I'm an old man by that point, right? But right now there is no contest. Why would you could go like this and push him over. God doesn't fight the devil. There's nothing there to fight. That putting him on the same level with God is just a form of blasphemy. It is the darkness in of itself. It's iniquity, and we know not from which it comes. And I'm telling you, I used to read that in Isaiah, and I don't know what happened to it. It's gone.
Yeah, it's vanished.
It's vanished.
Really?
It's the darkness. Oh yeah, that's a Mandela effect. I'm telling you.
Yeah, the Matrix.
And they changed it around. It used to be 2 Timothy, I believe, where they talked about Remphan. Now it's like, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you, but you can read it. The Temple of Remphan. You read about Moloch and all that.
Amos mentions Chion, but yeah, I couldn't find Remphan last time I looked either.
Yeah, Remphan's there. It talks about the Temple of Remphan. You could look it up when you guys want to do it. Anthony's cooking dinner or something. I don't know what he's doing. But so you have this weird dynamic that people impose upon God. Like he doesn't have human characteristics. He's not looking at the devil as his rival. That's not even a thing. Now, if you want to look at it from the perspective of Lucifer being a rebel and taking the angels with him, that's one thing that happened. But then you have this Semyasa guy with Azazel and all that. What happened there? There were two different things. One is a rebellion and the other is a falling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they were supposed to be here to watch these. That's why they're called the Watchers. And instead they're like, you know what? We want to go be with women. We're horny. I mean, that's literally what it's crass to say, but it's the truth. And then they overrode.
That, right? And it's like, well, if it's a black goose.
Yeah, look at her hair.
It affects angels and drives them insane. I could absolutely explain why they would do that because
you're really quiet there.
But it says like somebody I theorize it's the black goo came in and warped them and made them go off to do it because like you have to explain that insanity click. Like why would they go insane and do that? Well, there's this virus which is outside from our reality that got into our reality and it's gonna be dealt with. But in the meantime, we're fighting it. It attacks God and creation and corrupts things, drives things evil and insane. Zoroastrianism actually goes into a lot about this materialistic evil that's not of God, but it's just separate materialistic evil, and that's the battle that's going on, right? And so there's some very interesting parallels, and that's why it's so important to kind of study some of these other religions because you get some patterns and puzzle pieces that match with what we're talking about here. But that's what I think it is, Daniel. I think it's me personally. I think it's something separate from our reality that came into here. Something not of God, not of creation, but separate. It's not equal to God, but it's the closest thing to an opposing force. That's my opinion.
Anybody can become that too. I always thought it was funny when people would tell me, "Oh, I've been chosen or I've been marked." Everybody is. The evil has no. They don't care. They'll take anybody. They can always use cannon fodder.
You have such a high midichlorian count. You're so special.
Yeah, midichlorians. There you go. You have this high midichlorian. You were chosen, man.
It's like what that orb said to you.
Oh yeah,
I know, bro. He's like, you're a special snowflake. Join you. You can be such a strong wizard. No,
that's a fallen angel, bro. The Ophanim are fallen angels.
So they go and listen to In Flames and they play Cloud Connected and look at this. This song speaks to me. I can fly. Okay, dude. Whatever. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, you got these people who think more of themselves than they are. I've seen it in jiu-jitsu class. I've seen it in everything. Kickboxing, everything I've done in my years. There's always some guy comes in, yeah, man, I'm pretty tough. I can do this and that. But you're dealing with people who have skill, who are sitting here training. And every now and then you'll see a very athletic person who's never hit a bag or done anything, and they'll put on some gloves and they'll be like, and they'll be doing some stuff, and you'll be like, wow, so they're a natural. But how many people are like that? And how many people are like that in the spirit? They're not. I mean, there's not a lot of people that are just naturally that way. That's why numbers are important, because if you have the number 7 as a life path, I do believe that's important. That will give you that base, because there are certain things that as a child I just knew instinctively. But that's not the norm. And there's some people like that, man. You felt that way?
I feel that way as well, but my dad was also like super big into conspiracy theories. I was like 12 years old and he's like,
there's giants in Lovelock Cave, and
Yeah.
the Nephilims are from the inner Earth. And I was like,
They really are.
For
Yeah,
real,
your dad's
Dad?
smart.
Yeah, he's smart.
Yeah.
He's a smart one.
No, he's
Speaking of
He is
smart, what you
great.
got going
He's
on,
cool.
Paranormal Oz? I see you sitting there patiently waiting over there on the bus in Aussie land. How you doing there, mate?
Just
What's going on?
how are you? Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you all right, mate.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, cool. No, I just had been all right. Just getting rained out of work and that, you know. So only doing a couple of hours, pissing down here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How's it?
Yeah,
How
I've
you
got,
doing down there in
just a quick-
Oceania?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, how you going? Things all right?
Are you watching the World Cup? I know Australia. Weren't they playing today? Were
Nah.
they playing? No.
I don't know, mate. I don't watch it. The only sport I like with a ball in it's pool. You know, so
Every Aussie I've ever known or been around is always like, "Oh yeah, football. It's just soccer," you know, to us. But yeah,
yeah,
so,
we call it soccer too here, bro.
Yeah.
We call it soccer too because we got rugby and then we got Aussie rules football here. So football's
Rugby,
like
yeah.
or AFL, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
But how was that in the World Cup? They were meant to have a big fucking UFO landing or something like that. Didn't
Yeah,
happen,
the mothership was supposed to show up in Miami. What happened? Like, what are we doing here? I was waiting for that to happen.
I know, I was waiting
Almost
for
like
it too,
that.
eh?
Almost like that psychic was completely full of crap, eh?
That's it.
We haven't seen that
Seems
before.
like a lot
We
of
haven't
them are, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately.
Cool.
Yeah. I had one message
Yeah,
me
no, I
last summer that told me that I wasn't gonna make it out of the summer. And so I was like, wow. I went to sleep, and here I am the next year. I'm still here. So whatever. They were like, oh, this year you're
Yeah,
it's
right.
gone. You're gone. You know, whatever. So what do you got,
fair
Oz?
enough.
Tell us.
Mate, I caught up with a friend the other night who I hadn't spoken to for about probably 5 years. And he claims that through his bloodline, this and that, he'd actually made contact with some of the demons of the Goetia. And he actually
the Ars
claims to
Goetia.
have gone to the crossroads and met basically one of the 72 demons of the Goetia called Buer, B-U-E-R. And apparently it looks like sort of like a lion head, sort of mixed between a human head and a lion, with like a mane, and then it's got just like feet all around it, like so like a foot here, like sort of thing. And he reckons he met it like in like a dream state, but it wasn't a dream. And he reckons it's been guiding him, this and that, and he's apparently got all these strict rules to when he makes contact with it, he can't drink 3 days beforehand. Stuff like that, and he's a big drinker like me, and all the rest of the things. You know, he does this one and all that. But anyway, he's not. He's got to be completely sober and clean, no drugs, no drink, nothing. 3 days prior to meeting up with it. So it's pretty crazy, man. Like it actually blew my mind because like I've read books about all that stuff, but I've never been. I'm not ballsy enough to actually want to. Christ is my Lord. I don't want to make contact with any of that shit, but I find it interesting, you know what I mean? And he's actually claims to fully have made contact with it. It can find lost objects for him. It can do all sorts of shit, like tell him the future.
I'd taste the
all
objects
sorts
in the
of shit.
first
It's
place. Oh, you were
Yeah,
looking
well,
for
that's
that?
it, yeah. Anything he's looking for, but, like it can apparently sort of manifest it for him or something like that. But I found it pretty interesting, like, blew my mind, so to speak. I've still got to talk to him more about it. There's stuff he wouldn't say on the phone, and there was stuff he said he couldn't tell me, and there was stuff he could. But I don't know, it kind of blew my mind, because I'd never actually spoken to anyone who claimed to have actually done that, other than reading the stories of Edward Kelly and John Dee and that, you know what I mean? Enochian magic and that. But yeah, it was lesser key of Solomon, isn't it? Goetia.
Yeah.
And that.
Well, you need to tell him that Buer is actually, that's a fractal of Buer. And that's what the multiple legs stand for, too.
Yeah.
And if you take a look at this guy, now this is interesting. If you take a look at the picture of this guy, all the pictures show him as that, like with the different legs. There's 5 legs on Buer.
Yeah.
5 legs, typically.
That's right.
And he commands 50 legions. So each one of those is 10 legions per leg. And then each legion is about 6,000.
Wow.
So you have literally 30,000 fractals of himself. So Buer has a fractal that's out there telling this guy
Wow.
that it can do things and it answers to the mainframe computer of the Matrix. Whoopie-doo.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
computer
consort
can
with the
do
devil
crap.
so he can consort with the devil so he can find your hairbrush for you. Way to go, bro. Like,
You tell your friend to stop
nah,
because it's a
it's not my
slippery slope.
thing. It's not my thing. Yeah.
No, we get it.
He told
yeah,
me he's got a thanks, brother. It is. He's got a special spot reserved in hell. He reckons. He told me. So
what the fuck?
I don't know.
Is he
It's
cool
not my
with
cup of
that?
tea, Josh. You know, I just thought you guys might be interested to hear it. I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting. You know, like I mean, tell that to some random stranger, they're probably going to laugh at you. But I kind of went whoa because I've read about it and stuff like that. But it was interesting to hear it from someone who reckons they've actually done it. You know what I mean? Like,
People really want to go.
I told him as much. I said, rebuke it in the name of Christ, and he was like, no.
Yeah, well,
Anyway,
and if it runs from the name of Christ, then that's obviously not a good thing. I mean, and I'll read you a little bit what he is. They call him the star wheel because he's described as a 5-legged creature or spoke wheel, right? That rolls along the ground to move in any direction. So that's how he travels, and he's got the 5 legs. The lion head, alternatively depicted with the lion's head and 5 or more goat legs surrounding his body.
Yep.
He can also appear as a centaur, and then it says he provides good familiars to those who summon him. Right?
Yep.
So that is
test
him.
the
He's
spirit.
considered one of the great presidents of hell. It's weird because there's so
Wow.
much politics involved in these things because there's these presidents and then there's a king and there's a duke and a marquis, and they only follow what you believe. Like if you're reality, you follow whatever a king or a duke or whatever, then they follow that. They give that. Well, I'll explain it to you. I'm kind of like a duke for this. That's what it is. And then your reality creates this thing to come at you. I mean, what we really need to start figuring out is why some of these things look pixelated when people see these things, like what I saw at Venture Point Venture. It's a weird thing. I mean, like this weird shimmering. I don't know what the
Is that the
Glimmer
Glimmer Man
thing.
one? The
Yeah,
Glimmer
I
Man
mean,
one
it
you
came
saw?
up to me,
Shimmering
and
Phantom.
what was, yeah, it's a weird thing.
Wow.
But these beings, they're fractals, and Sean, when we did the show with you, we talked about the fractalization of these beings and what and who they are.
Yeah.
And we were really rolling and talking about them and getting to it when we were doing True Crime Paranormal. And then the beloved tube of you said, well, we're not going to monetize you.
Yeah.
But they didn't want us to talk about that because we were explaining when these killers do what they do. We were naming the culprits one by one.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, they've got to be.
But we're going to be
possessed,
back.
some
We're
of
going to
these
do it on
serial
Rumble.
Killers, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, they all have a
Rumble's
different
good, isn't
one.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rumble's good,
cool.
mate. I
Yeah,
can
I've got
do and say what I've got to say there.
Yeah, that's it, man. For sure.
Yeah, they can't have you ratting them out, can they?
Nope.
Nah. Well, I was wondering whether or not the next time he makes contact, he's going to go, that friend of yours, Matty, Paranormal Oz, has just outed it in front of this many people on Paranormal Round Table. But anyway, I thought I'd tell you anyway. Fuck it. I'm protected by Christ, so,
Yeah,
it,
you've been
man.
around for a long time with us, you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Ever since the start, man, I caught the very first episode of you on Big Show, man. So I was a big fan from the very start, Josh, of your work. And my mum sent me in your Dogman book when I was on my forced holiday recently. So that was good. It kept me busy. I read it about 5 times. I think it's a great.
Yeah, they put you in a little time out there. You had to put your nose to the wall for a little bit. The good old Australian government, I'll tell you.
Wait to read the vampire book. Is that out yet?
That is so
mate,
close
don't get
right
me
now.
started
So
about that.
the editing
Like taking our guns
is
off us and that.
almost done. Yeah, we're very close. And so I got 3 people reading it, and when they're done and they tell me, hey, it's ready, then that's it. We're done. We got it. So A lot of weird things happen with that book, dude. It's
Oh,
almost
cool.
like something didn't want us releasing it, but we kept fighting through it.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, one of the things I was going to tell you about these beings, guys, is they're pixelated for a reason, because this is a matrix. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And when they come through, they're forming to our realm, but they can't complete their transformation until they are here longer.
Yeah.
And then they become what they're going to be. And it's coming from the fourth density. And in my opinion, they can't go beyond the fifth, because then you get into the heavenly realm at the sixth and the seventh and the eighth, and then it just goes on and on. So I don't think they can go beyond that. Here's one thing we know. It's an adjustment, right? Here's one thing I know, though. The government, our government, the United States, literally came. This was on Fox News. And they said there are 4 alien species that are coming to our world. Insectoid, reptilian, and then the Nordic, and then the plasmoid. And I'm going like, hold on.
Yeah. That's weird.
Isn't
eh?
the plasmoid,
one.
isn't that
Yeah.
the Jinn? That's not an
flame,
alien.
eh?
You know? Yeah.
Ah.
That's them admitting that
It's
there are
interesting.
demons, basically, right? But
Yeah.
but the Ars Goetia is deceptive in one
That's
way.
what some of them are saying.
They aren't demons. Moon and Noon, thank you for that. We appreciate it. So they're not demons. They are archons. They are archons.
Yep.
And so when you stop and you look at these creatures, and we explained, we did the Tesseract on the show years ago, and we explained the right angle from a right angle that it talks about in the Quran, right?
Yeah.
I'm not Muslim. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows where I stand. But every one of these books does have some information that needs to be disseminated. That doesn't mean that I'm going to go out and become, a Muzzy or a whatever, or a Hindu, whatever.
Black cube worshiper.
A black cube worship.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you're gonna be seeing this, and you're going like, there is something to this. That's why we use Arabic numerals. They were masters of math.
Yeah.
They really were. The
sure.
Phoenicians, man. The
100%.
Phoenicians were.
Yep.
And you notice though, the
Yep.
Phoenicians were like, they were relatively, well, let's say they were the smartest people in the Levant. And guess who their descendants are?
Persians as well.
Persians as well, but not
Phoenicians
as
are modern
smart.
day Lebanese people.
Lebanon,
'cause I'm friends
the
with a few.
Lebanese, yeah.
Yeah.
And look who
Phoenicians,
they
yeah.
destroyed.
Yeah.
Right? And the race of Christ is actually the people that are being attacked and destroyed. I'm not going to get into it on this show, but it's really weird, like how they're doing everything they can to get rid of those people, because those people have a lot of the keys, the answers. I talked about it on Random Files. The intelligent people of Europe, the intelligent people of Asia, they're the ones that are getting knocked down like dominoes. Boom, boom, boom. There's a sinister behind it. That's why this show goes in time with these other shows like True Crime and Random Files and Dead Zone. They all are a piece of the puzzle. We're putting it together. And I think that these beings do not like being called out, because once you understand it, the answers to everything are here. We got them. You just got to be able to put them all together and not sound like a lunatic.
Yeah.
Because then they'll come at you, and people don't like me. There's a lot of people don't like me. I get messages all the time, and just taking time out of your day to tell me that I'm still here, I hate you. Like, I don't give a F. I don't care.
A lot of them, I think, are paid trolls, Josh. I think a lot of them are like paid
Shills.
trolls that just paid to make comments all day, or bots, one of the two. Because you trace some of their profiles, you go into like their Facebook page or anything or whatever, and you see there's no photos of them. They're just legit made up pages, made up accounts or whatever. Yeah.
Well, me and Taki are talking.
I wouldn't
to someone.
take it to. I
Sorry,
wouldn't
sorry.
take it to heart so much because they're just.
I don't.
Yeah. Me and Taki were
I mean,
talking.
it just-
to someone.
Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
I would too, man. Some people say on their channel you can't read the comment section, or you're just gonna do your head in, because there's always like the paid opposition and everything else. And if you get too upset about it, man, it's gonna ruin your day, So anyway, just know we're all
I
here.
don't
We
let
got
it
a
ruin
core
my
support.
day.
We all
That's
love
for
you,
sure.
Josh. So good man.
Yeah.
You got
The
a core
spirit
bunch
in
of
them hates
supporters
the
like me,
spirit
bro,
in
who
you,
love
bro.
So.
Mm-hmm. Sean, what were you trying to say about Taki?
that's it.
What was going on?
Yeah,
for
just
sure.
two things, and I'd love to shoot off you. The first thing was me and Taki are talking to someone who reached out to us. They're in California, and they actually had to deal with one of these cults. I think it was the cult of Set. And this guy said he actually was like fighting with the leader of this cult. And yeah, this cult leader pretty much told him that they hate you and your show because you're revealing all the truth of all this stuff. Right? So
what a
yeah,
shock. I've actually
Nah.
gangsta slapped them on here before already.
yeah, right.
The leader's
right?
Michael Aquino, isn't it? The leader, Michael Aquino of the Temple.
There's a bunch of them.
Got the big eyebrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's crazy about these people is the vampires are all, you know, they're you better not release this book, and they've been doing all this crap to stop the book, and it's like a tidal wave. Nothing can stop what's coming. I mean, you could bring 10,000 legions; it doesn't matter. I don't have the power to stop it, but the God Most High does.
Amen.
Christ literally changed the way everything was done. I mean, he changed the game. I mean, that's it. You can't, you know. People, they don't want that smoke. I'm telling you, man. They think that they're in a gang and they got some kind of power.
Yeah.
There's no power like Christ. That's it. I don't fear
Delusion,
these
eh?
creatures.
Well, it's like Abe says, may their curses come back on them
Crazy they think they've
sevenfold,
got
and
a
the Lord
chance.
rebukes them.
Yeah. Oz, do you ever go and check out? I know Sean does sometimes and Dick does. You guys ever go to Abe Seas' show at night? That's kind of like the nighttime hangout.
Yeah,
over
man.
there.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
sometimes he has
Yeah,
some
he's a
weird
pretty
people
smart
on
fella,
there.
Abe. I like him.
He's wise. He's a very wise
He's
dude,
cool.
man.
He's wise, very wise beyond his years. Eh? I like him. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's like a
Good guy.
sage.
Yeah,
And he knows when people
sure.
are messing with him too, you know. And he'll just let you go out, and, you know, with enough rope, and that's what I like and admire about the guy.
Yeah.
You know, I knew a long time ago when me and him had gotten into it, and we talked about this. We were set up to fight,
Yeah.
but some people are
I
so
remember
dumb
that.
they didn't realize that they were set up to fight me, and they're like, you know, implacable enemies against me now. And I'm like, I don't care, because if you don't have the brains that God gave a thimble, why would I want to be your friend or ally? You know.
Divide and
there's
conquer,
people that
isn't
I'm
it? You know,
having
they
to fight now.
Get in the groups and they turn people against each other. Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
You know, some of these serial killers too, when they've interviewed him, Arthur
good.
Sharkross comes to mind. I remember they interviewed this guy and they asked him, they said, why did you do it? And he's like, I don't know. I just did it. And I don't know why. And then there were some that they even said that they didn't enjoy what they did, but they did it. They just did it, you know? And that tells me right there that there's something that is operating within these people.
Hey, Wolf, how many police interviews have you seen where the person says it was like I was standing back and watching myself do it?
Yeah, because the demon in you, the archon or their fractal, is piloting you.
Yep.
And they want blood. Used to be, people would say, well, we don't see vampires. We're seeing werewolves all the time, but you're not seeing vampires. Now I know that you're seeing vampires 100 times more than you're seeing the werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
For every one werewolf you see, you're seeing 100 vampires, but you don't know that that's what they are. And you don't know how far in they are. Because some of these older vampires, not the inhuman ones, there's some that are inhuman. Because the vampire is an illness. It is. And it can infect alien species. It can infect these other creatures. And so a body is just a host for them. That's all it is. But some of these older ones, they are so they're so symbiotic with that being that they are not even in control. They'll go to sleep, almost what they call hibernation. And then that being will take their body and go out and do God only knows what. But you're responsible for that in this world. Mm-hmm. There's so many of them, and then they get in trouble and they don't say anything. They just will not talk about it. They won't say anything because the other is telling them not to do this. Yep. There are people who've been to prison and they've told me they've seen things jump off of people's backs, you know, and just, it's crazy, you know, like just crazy stuff. There was a guy who went to prison. He was in Angola, in Louisiana, one of the worst. And he told me, he was a black guy. He said, dude, I was in chow hall and he had the eye. As we say in Spanish, the ojo del toro. He had it. Yep. And he was watching this entity come up out of the top of this guy's neck, you know, the back of his head, and then go back right to this guy behind him, this guy's head, and the guy's head went back like that. And then that dude started acting like that other dude. And it didn't leave that guy. It was just enough dark energy to where it could poison the other dude. and then it just spreads. It's a virus. It's a sickness.
Yeah.
Remember what Abe said about Desert Storm, where the jinn were jumping from one body to the next and one dude to the next? Yeah.
Yeah, terrible, absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
I had someone come up to my door once. He was working for the phone company. He was from East India. Open up the door, and of course I can't see with my eyes like Abe and some people can, but I can sense like almost like a blind sense, like presence. And I sense a presence over this guy about twice his height. Came off of him through the door at me. I almost collapsed to the ground from it. I must pull myself back up in a moment because being Canadian, you don't want to, embarrass the other person there. Kind of brushed it off, had a conversation with him, and then continued on the day. But like I could sense the full presence and like the spectrum, the size and mass of it. Right? And it came at me. It was like an attack. And it just came right off of him. So this stuff inhabits, hijacks people, goes over to other countries. And as part of the whole invasion agenda, they bring a bunch of bad stuff over and set it loose in our countries. And they're hijacking people who have no clue that it's on them.
Mm-hmm. It's nuts, man. Well, guys, I hate to, but I'm going to have to bail here. But I thank everybody for being here and being on tonight. Tonight was not planned. Tonight was Patreon, but the Patreon thing was acting kind of screwy. So I just said, we're going to give them a show one way or the other. We got to do it. So
nice.
Tomorrow night we're going to do both. We're going to do the Patreon, and then we're going to double up. We're going to do the members only tomorrow night. We're going to talk about Forrest's encounter. Who did we lose? Who dropped off?
Andre.
Who was here? Yeah,
Andre.
Weird. It was Excalibur. She was on. Sorry about that, Sandra.
Oh.
So tomorrow night, sorry about that, Excalibur. I hope she wasn't upset with me. I forgot all about her being here. She was so quiet. If you can hear me, Sandra, you can jump back on if you want to talk. I got another maybe 10 minutes in me here. But I got to go do some stuff. Doesn't matter. If you want to come back on, Sandra, go ahead and jump back on and say what you got to say. If you have something to tell me, tell me. But anyways, so what we're going to talk about tomorrow night, it's going to be the members only. It's going to be Forrest's encounter with one of these Glimmerman things.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it'll give you some answers, So join the members. It's $5, cheap. And then you get a whole month. And we have a huge library now on the members only. And we have a huge library on the Patreon because we're doing Bigfoot, the Nature of Reality in the 50 states. And we're at Wyoming. And then next week we'll be in Kentucky. And we just keep moving east to west, whatever. Like the Civil War, east to west, It always cracks me up when foreigners know more about our history than us. And I'm like, there was a guy doing that at the mall in San Antonio one time years ago. And me and my friend Jerome were there. And he's from Germany, so he's really smart. And we were, because, and not because he's German, but because their school, they educate them, they actually teach them facts. And so we were there, and they were going around doing that. I don't know if we ended up on a video or what. It was about 10, 12 years ago. And they asked us, like, who was in the Civil War? And I was like, the Germans and Japanese. And they were so giddy to get some stupid guy. I'm a big dude, like, look at this big guy, he lifts weights, he's dumb. And then I said, no, it was the North and South. And then I went into a little bit of what it was, and the girl was like, oh, okay, so so no bueno. They didn't like that. And it's funny because her friend was interviewing Jerome. He's from Germany, and he knew all about it. Like, it was crazy, And I said, that guy can name every president we've had, and he's from Germany. It's like, but you ask the average 20-something in the United States, like, they don't know anything. Can't tell you. Sandra, what was it you wanted to talk about?
I just wanted to tell you how angry I was. No, I was kidding. I wasn't mad at you, Josh.
Oh, you came back to be mad at me, huh?
Yeah. No, I don't act like that. All I was going to mention, I posted this in the group a while back, but back in May, my sister had an experience at the family ranch.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
And I told her, I go, man, that kind of sounds like a Dogman, but I was like, possible, because there's been Bigfoot sightings like 8 miles away from there. And then I just randomly a few weeks ago just decided to do a search if there's been any sightings in that town, and There was on Vic's show, and I listened to it, and it happened like right there in the town, and it was the same color. I asked her, I go, "What color was it?" Because I remember saying it was a light color. She goes, "Oh, it was like tan, same color."
Wow.
Sightings like, I think the sightings from Vic's show happened in 2023, and my sister had a sighting in like May. And this is, it's country, and it's kind of slightly foothills, but there's a river that runs through there, so there's an abundance of game and stuff. But how weird is that? I mean, it's just a random place for a werewolf sighting. I just thought it was kind of weird.
It doesn't matter where they just appear wherever they feel like being, but there are ley lines, which people don't understand what those are. And there is this thing that I have talked about before on the show, morphic resonance. And I'm telling you, morphic resonance is a real thing. Rupert, what's his name? He's a Brit. I've read the book. Rupert something. Anyway, you can look it up. Morphic resonance, Rupert's his first name. He wrote this book about morphic resonance. It's a real thing. And I think that these things are connected. I do. Especially if they're spun off of the same entity. Okay,
Later.
Oz, we'll see you. You have a good day.
Well, given the fact that ranch is very haunted, there's all sorts of weird stuff that happens out there. So who knows? I mean, that family ranch is very haunted. So I've told you some of the stories that have happened on there before.
Mm-hmm.
Very strange things at that place. And
what state is it?
it's in California. It's in a small town. I don't want to say publicly.
Yeah. I'm just wondering
but
which state.
Small town. We'll say it's kind of east of Lodi, California. And I had a Bigfoot sighting in, of all areas, like Galt, California, which is 10 miles west of the ranch. And I went and looked on the I forget what the actual name of it is, like the Bigfoot map or whatever. I looked on there, and probably 10 or 15 years before I had my sighting, there was another Bigfoot sighting about within 6 miles of my sighting, further out in the Delta area. So they do pop up. It's such a random. I know they can be in, populated areas, but it's just so, it's very ag-related out there. But it's just, when you look at it especially from the satellite, you can go, oh yeah, I can see how they could get by without being seen. Even where my family ranch is at, if you're traveling during the dark, no one's going to see you because it's just.
It's not just that too. They can go into an orb state. People have seen this.
Yeah.
Go in an orb state, shoot by on rivers. Rivers are like the highways for a lot of these.
Oh yeah,
entities.
that's
they
the
become
main,
in and out of trees.
Yeah, the main river there is. Like I said, there's deer all over the place and everywhere.
I taught the dog show, but the one I had when I'm driving down the highway, there's two vehicles, a solid rock mountain face, and I sensed the presence from about 200 to 300 meters away. There's nothing there. You can't see anything. I drive by, I look back, and there he is, manifested, standing there, looking at me from the road. So they can be right beside you. Same with the reptilians, all these different races and beings. They can be right beside you. You don't notice them unless they want you to know.
Yeah, it is interesting. I ran across, Facebook does the memory thing. Something popped up yesterday. Some time I had to take my dog to the vet, but there was a little mention on there that I made a comment about. I feel like I hit something black and furry. Like I was assuming it was a bear. This is like in 2009 in Oregon, and this is not the thing I had that I think I actually had a Dogman or something cross in front of me on a road, just moving so fast. I didn't know what it was, but it was moving really fast. And this is a different time, different day, different time of day. And it's like there's so many random things that have happened to me. It's so strange. But I've never actually had a sighting of a Bigfoot or Dogman in Oregon when I was there. But I definitely had a lot of thumps in the middle of the night, dogs going ballistic, and me standing, opening the front door with a rifle in my hand, acting like a nutcase on my remote property, in case there was something out there, and going, I will shoot you if you bother me. That's more or less what I did. But I didn't go out the door. But, crazy things you do when you live in a remote area in the forest.
Well, the thing is, too, these aren't completely flesh and blood beings, and you have to remember that. They don't need a place to hide. That's why Bigfoot can literally manifest in a clump of trees.
Yep.
And until we face that reality, these people like, Fat Money Faker, he's one of them. It's just full of all kinds of whatever. But he had this. I posted on my Facebook the other day. Yeah, and he's been snarky, and I don't care. He's not one of my favorite people, and I don't play. If I don't like you, I don't like you. You want me to like you? Give me a reason to like you.
I've heard horror stories about him.
Yeah, well, he blocked it to where I can't see the post anymore. But y'all can still go to my Facebook and see it. There was a big old thing on there. So he was attacking David Politis. I don't have a dog in that fight. It's not my thing. But they both have reputations, one way or the other. And I'm not going to get into it. But I just thought, what a ridiculous thing to say. Bigfoot has never eaten anybody or done anything. How do you know that?
There's a whole group of them.
How do you know that?
There's a whole group of them that are cannibalistic. They eat people.
What's the Nahanni Valley all about?
I was going to say the Headless Valley.
Give me a break.
All that? Yeah, they're tearing heads off over there. I mean, look at what happened in Alaska, Port Locke. I mean,
Yeah.
That's not vampires and reptilians and Dogman. That's Bigfoot.
My honest opinion is, I think probably some are nicer than others. I don't think it's ever a good idea to try to be friends with them.
No.
But I think some are probably a little bit more, maybe they are trying to make points with God. I don't know, but they do. There have been some that have been known to help people, lost people, or
they can be
children and
human-like. Some good, some bad.
Or I've considered that maybe if it was a child getting help, maybe it was an angel taking the form of a Bigfoot, so it blended in and it guided it out. Who knows? But I don't think it's a good idea to try to be friends with them or anything, because it's demonic. It's the enemy. I just stay away from it. It's just not good to mess with that stuff. So research it, but don't interact with it on purpose.
Yeah, and don't become obsessed with it. Like some people, people ask me, they message me and they want to talk about Dogman, and they're just like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? That's fine. But there has to be an off switch. I don't want to focus on vampires, werewolves, and demons and ghosts all the time, because you can't let it consume you. And then we have this mundane world that we have to do a disco for. That's why we have Random Files. So I can get on there and talk about this stuff and talk about the world around us and use common sense. Like people where did you get your opinion from? My opinion. It's called facts.
Well, even the crap that's going on in the world, it's all connected, because I'm going to tell you, my opinion is the deep state's just as connected to the demonic as a werewolf is. It's all the same crap. It's all
the
of it.
world's a stage.
Well, that's what it is, and I believe things are changing, because I believe God is really reaching His hand and turning the tide. Things will be getting better. It's not as fucked up as people think it is. It's not. It's going to be better. It's going to get better, and we'll see it. You'll see it next year, and
we'll see.
Yeah, I mean that's because if I didn't believe that, it'd be really freaking depressing to live in this
There's
world.
cycles within cycles, but then there are inevitabilities, and inevitability that the evil will be destroyed. It's going to happen, and it's happened before, and then it'll cycle back.
Yeah, and maybe the evil's just like been allowed to run to mess with our timeline, as some people believe, and mess with us and do this and do that, and it's kind of like, yeah, that's enough of that. So let's, and it's also, look what's happening with, not to get on the subject of religion, but look what's happened to a lot of churches these days. They are they're collapsing because there's a judgment on it, because there's a lot of churches that are supposed to be quote unquote Christian, and they are so off base with what they're teaching, they're falling apart.
Well, and in the New Testament, Jesus says that there'll be a falling away of the church. He doesn't say, and this is not, I'm not trying to pick or anything. He doesn't follow it up and say, oh, that's a terrible thing. He just says there's going to be a falling away.
There is.
So what does that mean? That you interpret it however you want. I interpreted that there's a falling away, good and bad.
Yeah.
It's good and bad.
I think there's going to be a lot of Christians that are going to be shocked when they don't go to the good place, because they weren't as Christian as they thought they were.
That's true, because they're not of an understanding, and they take their understanding, and this is the biggest problem. It's probably the most important thing I say all night. I'm going to say this. They take what they believe is their understanding of the Bible, of Christ, God, and the Holy Spirit. They take their human brain understanding of it disregard the spirit completely.
Mm-hmm.
This is a spiritual thing completely.
Yeah.
Then we lose sight of who we're wrestling against, who we're fighting against. Not of flesh and blood, but of the spirit. And then we sit here and God is going to weigh our hearts. I'm telling you. And your heart, if it's found wanting, that's it. I mean, there is no other way. And I think that the problem is a lot of these self-righteous people, the stumbling block, the number one stumbling block is that they don't know. They themselves don't know. They're blind to their own fallibility.
I mean, what about the people?
You should be your own biggest critic.
What about the poor people that are attending churches that are technically cults and they're unaware of it? I'm not going to pick them apart here publicly, but we are aware of a few that they're just, you know, they say they're Christian, but they're not. You know, it's obvious. You know, it's just, you know, especially if it was started from a being of light appeared. You know, I mean, there's a few of them like that. And these poor people are just going to get a big surprise one day, and they're just not going to go to the good place because they didn't do the research. And I was going to say, you know, we are not humans having a spiritual existence. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And that's the thing people don't get. You know, you have to keep your foot in both. That's how I live my life. I keep my foot in both worlds. I am well aware. I've always been aware of what's going on in the spiritual realm, but I understand it more now these last 7-8 years compared to what I did before. And it's a constant learning thing. And I think God is part of that because he just puts things right in front of me. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I
God's
can tell
all of that.
Yeah, I can tell he's putting it in, you know, I get downloads and I hear from him every once in a while, not as often as I'd like to, but maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
Well, you know, when I was talking about God weighing your heart weighing is going to tell how our minds led us astray to evil thoughts, the bad things we did and we enjoyed on this earthly plane. And you know if you enjoyed it or not, whether it was evil and you took pleasure in it. And a lot of it, too, comes down to intent. And then Jesus tells us love covers a multitude of sin. Because have you ever met somebody? I got a friend. He's like that. He drinks, he smokes. But, dude, that guy is a very loving guy. And not just his children and his wife, but he loves everybody. Everybody. That dude really genuinely loves people. He cares about people. You know, even if I've had arguments with him, whatever, and we didn't talk or whatever. And if I called him up, I know he would be like, hey, man, you know, here's $50, whatever. He's one of the few people I know that just genuinely cares. He's empathetic. And there's not a lot of people like that anymore that are genuinely that way. You can count them on one hand.
Yeah, I have a very dear friend that used to be addicted to. He got addicted to Oxy because a prescription given to him and stuff. Fought it for a long time. He had a little bit of an addiction to alcohol. You know, never did things to, like, you know, do crime to buy drugs. Not that. He just, you know, it's a prescription issue. And, you know, he leaned into God so much these last few years. He has quit everything. And then, you know, he was on that, whatever that stuff they give you to get off the drugs. Whatever, you know. Yeah, something like that. And it was just messing with him. And he just quit that cold turkey. You know, the doctors didn't want him. He's like, I don't want to take anything. I don't want anything. And you know what? He's doing fine now. He's doing fine.
Good for him.
He just, you know, and he's had his own experiences. He knows he's something big. He's supposed to do something because he's got the gift too. You know, he knows. And that's and you know, that, like Josh says, you know, it's about your heart. And then there are people who are just, you know, I have a sibling that I wonder, I don't think she's possessed, but I think she's very spiritually oppressed because she's very narcissistic and not a good person, you know, basically an asshole all the time. And my other sister has to deal with her all the time. And she's like, it's a struggle not to be angry with her. I'm not. I forgive her because I think she's got problems and I hope she gets fixed one of these days. I don't know. You know, dysfunctional families. It's just, you know, it happens. You got to watch it at every turn.
Yep.
Maybe it's living on the haunted ranch. Who knows?
Sisters, man.
Yeah. And we all are brothers and sisters, and we're brothers and sisters in Christ. And there are people who will tell you, "Oh, we're brothers in Christ," and they'll just stab you as hard as they can with everything they got.
Oh, no one will mess you over more than a Christian.
Yeah,
Or alleged Christian.
an alleged Christian. Yeah,
An alleged. That's why I don't do work.
I see the Muslims do it to each other too. I have some friends I've been friends with for years, and they'll be like, "That guy's not a good Muslim," and I'm like, "Well, that's your religion. I get it, but I have the same problem with my Christian brothers. They'll do what they do, greed, larceny. It's ridiculous, man.
Or God forbid, doing business with a church and they don't want to pay you anything. Oh, but we're a church. We can't. I'm like, you don't tell me you can't afford things. That building is so expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. You see all the opulence there, and then they can't afford to help you with something,
By the way, Josh, I wanted to congratulate you on your opportunity to do a different route with your career. I think it's the best thing that could happen to you.
I still got to do what I got to do to wrap that up, though. You know what I mean? I have a battle to fight.
Oh,
and it's not about, and Anthony asked me, he says, "You think it's about vengeance?" I said, "No, it's not about. I thought about it. I slept on it, and I prayed about it, and it's not. I don't want revenge. That's not me. What I want is for these people to not be able to do these things to someone else. Yeah. When someone has the ability to take things from you and hurt you and do things to you and your family and financially cripple you, and they are not, in my opinion, decent, and then they're underhanded and they tell you one thing and they do another. Somebody has to be the one that stops it. And when you see people do things, this is not saying my situation, but just when people do things to people, and then they do it to another person and another person, someone strong has to step up and go to war.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you have the resources and the finances and you have the people, the ability, the buck swings to you. The buck stops with you. You have to pick up and you have to fight. Because who is going to be the voice and protect those people? Because, in the Bible it says that Satan is a ravenous, lion. He's devouring everybody. And so someone has to kill the lion. Someone has to stop it. They have to put an end to it. And I don't mean to physically kill it, because that's, but you have to take up the sword and do the fight, whatever that means, whether it's legal battle, whatever. And it's not something you want to do. You might, and once you've exhausted every avenue, then there's no choice. You have to do what you have to do. And sometimes there's misunderstandings, but these people aren't having a misunderstanding. They know what they're doing, and they know what they do is wrong. So God knows that I don't want to work with people that are not good people. But, by the same token, I still have to deal with those people, and do it fair and legal and do it correct. I had to do it with this war with these, people. You have to deal with it. You don't hear about it anymore, do you, with these people, right? So you have to deal with it. And every situation is different. Those people that I had the problem with, I don't want to mention their names or anything, but they were going from channel to channel to channel, knocking people out, taking people out, running people off, attacking. We endured 2.5 years of slander, defamation, deceit, and lies and hate, and the most vile actions you could possibly imagine, next to physically being assaulted. It hurt my health. It hurt my wife's health. Now it's happening, and I have to deal with it. And you're just like, man, they don't realize that I'm built for war. I've been through this 1,000 times in every shape or form. This is not new to me. I've won 2 lawsuits in the last 3 years, two big ones.
2-0.
And so I'm telling you, actually 3, because I had a guy try to screw me on a real estate deal, and he was an attorney. And he tells me on the phone, "I'll have you know I'm an attorney." I looked him up. He's a defense attorney. So I got a real estate attorney, and they call him Chainsaw. That's his nickname. He does anything, corporate, whatever. But he went after them, and now this guy can't sell that property unless he sells it to me, because he tried to cheat me, he tried to screw me. And I told him, I said, "That's why you're a defense attorney and he's a real estate attorney. You're not going to bring a butcher to come give you a haircut." He was real haughty and arrogant too. "You don't know." I just listened to him. I said, "Sir, I'm not going to fight you on this, dude. I'm just going to let someone deal with you that knows how to deal with you. And so that's what you got to do. That's why I tell everybody, you can do things pro se too. You know, if you have the right people, they can coach you and tell you how to do and what to say and how to do it, and you can save a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I sued my old landlord, and I won. And I did it all myself because I have the friends that just told me exactly what to do, what to say. And I ask them first, is this going to work? You think that, oh, heck yeah. And if they tell you, yeah, I know these guys. Because fortunately for me, my old studio for 6 years was right next door to a group of lawyers. And yeah. And so I got to know them very well. We became friends. You go out and talk to them, you know, and hang out with them and eat dinner with them and stuff. And you get to know the law. Very important to know the law. People are always trying to tell me about the law. And I'm just like, dude, you know, even police officers, they don't know the law. They let other people, you know, magistrate and all that. But you have to be able to understand these things. It's important. It's a very important thing. I think everybody should also be able to speak at least 3 languages. Well, that's my opinion. But the average European speaks 3 languages. The average American can barely speak 1. I'm telling you, you know, like, I mean, just like Mark Dice, he's like, what is the national language? And they're like, French.
Well, you know, the other thing is a lot of lawyers are not as smart as they like to think they are.
No,
they're not. Because I have a friend up in Oregon, and when he was dealing with some child support stuff, he tried having a lawyer do it, and the lawyer was an idiot, so he started doing it.
You do it yourself.
He did. He's very smart, and now he's in the middle of a HOA battle, and the HOA has hired lawyers, and their lawyers are actually kind of scared of him now at this point in time. They've dealt with him enough because he's a righteous fighter, you know, like you are, and he's very smart, and he has.
You know, these HOAs, they get their ass tore up in court. I've seen it. They get their ass tore up in court because they play hard, loose and fast with the rules.
Yep.
Oh,
It's the board. They're doing all sorts of illegal things. And he did. My friend did give them an offer of like just step down, and we won't try to go after your house. You know, we won't retaliate. They didn't take the offer, so now they're going to lose, and they're not going to be owned in their houses because they've pretty sure that they've like embezzled money and stuff. That's why they won't step down. Like it's a whole thing, and I know he's going to win because I know how smart he is, and I know he will succeed. He should have been.
Yeah, and a lot of these people who they don't know how the law works, and they'll pay somebody a massive amount of money, and that lawyer doesn't care. They're just trying to get a payday.
Exactly.
They don't care. And see, my situation is different. These guys are my friends. You know, so they have a vested interest in, you know, helping me and whatever. Well,
that makes a difference.
So it does. It makes a lot of difference. So thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you to everybody who was here. I appreciate everybody who donated, especially the wonderful Miss Debbie Cawthorne. She's an awesome person.
She is the best.
She has stepped up and just been, you know, helping. Rita, another one that donates regularly and helps out.
She's the best too.
I get it that money is tight and people are whatever, but you know, and Sandra, you're saying, you know, I'm glad that you're doing something else, but I got to figure out a way to make money. You know,
the right thing will come along.
I know it will. I feel like no panic. I'm not panicked now. I was just stressed out, but
I'll give you my opinion. My opinion is that you are supposed to lean into this stuff here, the books.
I think so too.
And so something else is going to come along to take care of the bills
Yep.
in a less stressful manner in which you were living. That's my opinion.
So here's what happened to me today, and this is kind of funny. If you guys got a minute here, I'll tell you. This is the answer to all of your prayers. It just came. Let me see if I can find it. Dang it. Hold on.
The answer to your question earlier, Daniel, is yes. They feed off us like batteries.
The Matrix.
Yeah, I've been listening to PRT for a minute. I learned a few things.
Yeah.
Well, I can't get over to those other messages. I don't know what the heck this is, but I could just tell you what it was. So I had somebody send me a message saying that, and I'm so tired right now.
Me
I had to get
too.
up. I woke up at 8 this morning, and that's really early for me because I
Yeah.
went to bed really late, like always. I can't find the other messages, but anyways, it basically said that they were leaving this world, and they were leaving me $330,000 and some change. And I said,
Really?
geez, this person is that they love me that much, huh? So I just looked it up, and they said this is a scam. I was like, damn it. So I got somebody that loves me that much. I don't know who they are, and it's horrible if they're leaving this world. That's terrible. But I was like, I need to find out who this person is.
They just need they need 30,000 to get it at a trust first, right?
Yeah, that's what they need you to move money. I'm sure that's what the scam thing said, that they need the money to move it. I wish I could read it to you, and I don't know where it's at. I can't get over this. They keep changing this. Like every time I look at this damn thing, it's another thing on here. Oh, maybe I just got it right here. Oh, here it is, right here. Comes from Helen Carey. This isn't a real person, right? It says, for many years, I have carried the weight of work and lived in solitude. The world has become exhausting for me, and depression has caused me great suffering. Even so, you were always the one I care about the most. I don't know who this person is and why they care about me. But I don't want to burden or interrupt your life. I have left you some money, hoping that it will become a bond for us to meet again in the next life. Now I am ready to say farewell to this world. Please hold on to this message. And then they give you a website to follow, username, password. Then it says the balance is $6,303,050.50.
Dead 50 cents.
And I'm like, what is this? I just put it in there, and the thing is, I don't know, it's not Chat GPT, but the AI thing's like, oh, this is a scam, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, no shit. Like, who
log into it on Anthony's computer?
No, because I need Anthony to do help with the show. You think he's going to want to help me if I give him a virus on the on the deal there, or whatever? I don't think he's going to want that too much, you know. And speaking of that, there's another person who's John Sablon. Thank you for. I think it was John. He was, unless it was somebody else. They sent me and said, "Hey, this is a virus. Do not open this." Was it John? I think it was John. But yeah, and I appreciate people looking out for me and telling me when these new viruses and things come out, you know, and whatever. And yeah, I mean, you know, I think I'm going to be fine. I think everything's going to be fine. We have people that are good people in this world that will do what's right and make sure that people, you know, get what they're owed. That's it. But I thank you to everybody who tuned in. Tomorrow night, remember, like I said, I think I've already said this about 10 times. I'm going to say it again. 2 shows. We're going to do the Patreon, and we're going to do the members only. One will be at 7, one will be at 8. So I guess what we'll do is we'll do the Patreon. Or no, we'll do the members. We're going to do the members first at 7, and then we're going to do Patreon at 8. And we're going to talk about the Glimmer Man on the members only tomorrow night and what happened to Forrest in the forest. And then we're going to talk about Marie and Moses' encounter in Wyoming.
Nice.
So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for everybody being on the panel. It was an interesting show. And we started out, we did the Bigfoot and werewolf thing, or Dogman, what they want to call it, whatever. And then we had everybody come on, and Daniel jumped on, and then we had an good old fashioned Monday like we used to have, right?
The Mondays.
See, the hardcore people love the Mondays. I mean, but I have to do the Patreon. I mean, I have to. Unless, you know, and then Friday and Saturday we got Rumble. We got Rumble on Saturday. It's the real Random Files, and we have the Random Files on YouTube on Friday. So be sure and stick around for that. And I believe we're gonna record with some more people. I know Bryce Edwards is one of them. I know I'm going to be recording with. I have a bunch of people here. Matt is going to record with me. I know that, and I got a bunch of people. So I'm getting ready to be on. What's his name? Josh Nanog, a good friend of mine. I talked to him today. So I'm going to be on with him. He's building a new studio. He had a fire.
Oh. Yikes.
So he got flooded, and then there was a fire. So poor guy, dude. But so he's coming back. Good news too. Besides him, Josh Pinocchio, he's got the studio. He's coming back, and then I'm going to be on his show on What Lurks Beneath. But my good friend Lance Hightower, who was rocking and rolling until somehow somebody got into, I don't know what they did. They took his channel down, and a month later he's gotten it back. So if you're interested in Lance Hightower, Monster 411 or Monster 911, go check him out. Lance is back, so that's good news. Praise God, he's one of the good ones. So I was really glad. I've been keeping up with that to make sure that he gets back where he needs to be. So go over there, watch his show, give him some support, and make sure you tell him, hey, man, I'm a paratrooper, and Wolf sent me over here. He's good people. So there's a lot of good people out there, man, a lot of good people doing things. Watch Abe. Go check him out at night if you want a nighttime hangout. That's the guy. And if you're able to, Truth Proof with Paul Sinclair across the pond, one of my British friends over there in England, done a lot of good work. I'm going to be working with him, maybe trying to do a collaboration. One of my good friends in this field. So now that I have time, I'm going to be doing this. And I'm going to be probably getting Paul Wallace on the show too pretty soon. But doing a set with him like I did with Guy Anderson. I hope everybody enjoyed Guy. Guy's a good dude.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Tartarian stuff, boy, he gets in there. And it's all stuff that we need to know. We need to learn about, you know. And a lot of people, they just want to be one-dimensional, whatever. Not me. James Bartley had a panel on last night. I know, Sean, you like James Bartley a lot. And he had a panel, and he gave me a shout-out last night. I appreciate that. Thanks, James. But, yeah. So a lot of good people doing good work. Anyways, we'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you, guys. We love you.
Good night.
Wednesday, I'm going to be on in the afternoon, folks. I'll be on in the afternoon. So,
Love you guys. God bless.
Too.
All right. So, Richard, you know, you and I have been through a lot.
Amen.
I tell you, man, that you no longer have a job with us here. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's too bad.
I found out that you were taking coffee filters, even though I told you could. Now I'm gonna. Call
I've got them in the cupboard right back there.
Yeah, you took them. You took 4 of them, and so
yeah,
I gotta let you go, man. That's how it goes.
I use a French press though.
Yeah, but you still took coffee filters. You can't do that. You can't take anything that's property of the Canadian government, technically.
Yeah, right.
The Mounties will come and get you.
What isn't? What isn't?
All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow, guy. We'll see you.
Love you, brother. God bless.
Yeah. God bless you. We'll see you. So once again, good show. We had a great show. We had a good time, and it just started off with the Wolf Man, Bigfoot crawling, weird, whatever, and turned into a Monday, like it used to be, right? So this was fun. We'll see. All right, guys. We love you. Good night. Well, can't decide what I want to listen to here.
This pain of coming back to life, I feel everything, everything. When I open my eyes, your face, I'll never forget. Your horror, my pain, I'm alive, living again. I feel every stitch and every scar. Father, what's my purpose? Abandoned, left for dead, a monster. Why have you forsaken me? Accept me as I am. Feel like a god, feel like a god, creating without thinking, no pros, no cons. You let me walk, you let me see, you let me feel. I found her, but she did not know me. I reached for her, but she recoiled in horror. I wanted to beg anything for her love. The look on her face, I want out of this place. Father, what's my purpose? Abandoned, left for dead, a monster. Why have you forsaken me? Accept me as I am. It doesn't matter, it can't matter no more. I'm incomplete, I'm missing me. The world is darker than I remember. I wanna love her, but this heart is not mine. I wanna touch her, but these hands are not mine. I wanna tell her I love her, but this voice is not mine. Looking into her eyes, I saw how love dies. Now that's where her body lies. Father, what's my purpose? Abandoned, left for dead, a monster. Why have you forsaken me? Accept me as I am. Revenge shall be mine, I'll catch you in time. You gave me the pain of coming back to life. I want you to see me, look what you've done, what you've done. A man no more from a madman's hands. I walk alone, no part of me is home. Place me back under the stone. Father, what's my purpose? Abandoned, left for dead, a monster. Why have you forsaken me? Accept me as I am. As I am. What's my purpose?